Let's go this
Not
morning.
great. Not great.
Oh no, what happened?
It was slow and messy, and I don't know, like, don't want to moan, but these yellow weather warnings, what's going on? Like, yesterday was yellow and it was fine, and now today's yellow and it was brutal in parts of Donegal.
Do you think
and
they
if you're not
gave
on a gritted route and it's amber down the country, but it probably should be amber for us today if it was yellow yesterday. It's just like the boy who cried wolf. It kind of
So
already,
yellow is stronger than amber?
Yeah, well, yellow is never eat yellow snow. Is that?
Of course, yeah.
Don't drive an orange.
Oh, stop that. You turned that around pretty good. Do you think we got the yellow very easy? Too easy?
Well, it's a blunt instrument, because yellow was yesterday, right? Nothing. Yellow today. Schools, buses aren't running. Roads are closed.
What do you mean school buses are not running?
Well, you know what I mean.
School buses are running. I didn't get reports of no bus.
Anyway, but I'm sure it's different with school closures, right? You're talking about school closures.
All right, okay.
But my point is that yesterday it was yellow, today it's yellow, and it's two completely different days.
What day's tomorrow?
Haven't a clue. Giving
Friday.
up the colours now.
Friday tomorrow.
Giving up the colours. But do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, a wee bit.
No? Okay.
No, but I think it's do you know, yellow you'd expect a lot more, but I suppose it's very hard to predict, really, too.
It's not really, because they've actually invented the weather forecast.
Right, they invented it.
Yes,
They make
so
it up then.
You can see the weather somewhat in advance.
Yeah, a wee bit. Yeah. All right,
Anyway,
come here.
It just, if we had our own system, it might work better.
What do you mean our own system?
I don't know, something that's just not that.
An independent weather forecast?
Something.
Gone away.
I'm thinking about it. I'm going to try and invent a company.
All right, okay.
Lee, have a great Thursday. You in
Yellow
tomorrow?
Thursday, yeah.
Good
Of course,
stuff. All right,
tomorrow's
take care.
Friday. Good
All right,
luck.
buddy. Bye-bye. It is 9 o'clock. It's the 9 till noon show. We cross over for news update now, and it's Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Well, following on from that, road users are being urged to use extreme caution this morning as sub-zero temperatures and limited visibility have hit some parts of the country. An orange snow, ice and rain warning remains in place for much of Munster. The rest of the country, including Donegal, is under a yellow warning for snow, ice and low temperatures. Heavy snow has been reported in Mayo, Roscommon and Galway. There has been snow in many parts of Donegal over the past number of hours. Gardaí are warning of treacherous road conditions in some areas, particularly on routes that aren't on the council's gritting programme. The PSNI also reporting some dangerous roads north of the border. A Buncrana councillor has expressed concern about reports that a group of young people attempted to set fire to the festival play park area earlier this week. The incident happened on Tuesday night. Councillor Joy Beard is urging those responsible to stop, and she's asking parents to speak to their children. She says Gardaí are investigating the incident.
Thankfully, on this occasion, there was no major damage done. But it's extremely disheartening that a group of people went down there and tried to set fire to the play park. I would like to urge anyone going down to the play park that they act responsibly. They need to think about their actions and the implications that their actions have. We have a fabulous, fabulous play park there that's fully accessible for everyone to enjoy, and this just cannot continue. There is CCTV in the playground and the guards have been made aware.
The North's Justice Minister has confirmed extra funding is being made available to the Policing and Community Safety Partnership in Derry to facilitate its work in tackling violence against women and girls. It follows a marked increase in reported incidents of physical and sexual violence in Derry and the wider Northwest. A number of those incidents were fatal. Minister Naomi Long was answering questions in the Assembly from Foyle MLA Gary Middleton and East Derry MLA Cara Hunter.
Can I ask the Minister, since these attacks just weeks previous, has she engaged with the local PCSP in Derry and the wider Northwest area?
Yes, we have, through the department, engaged with the PCSP in terms of additional funding and how they're spending the money that they have at the moment. It is something I'm aware, for example, that the PSNI have increased patrols. The PCSP also has, I think, some additional measures in place. But if people remain fearful, that is something that is, to me, unacceptable. We need to change the culture.
Donegal County Council has been shortlisted for the prestigious Local Authority of the Year award at this year's Chambers Ireland Excellence in Local Government Awards. That ceremony taking place this evening in Dublin. The council, one of 3 in the country to be shortlisted. Donegal County Council also shortlisted in the Climate Change Festival of the Year, Health and Wellbeing, Heritage and Built Environment, Promoting Economic Development and Supporting Sustainable Communities. And the weather forecast for this morning: another bitterly cold day with a mix of sunny spells and scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow. Showers will be most frequent across northern fringes, frost and ice in places as well. Highs of just 2 to 5 degrees Celsius, mostly light northwesterly winds, fresher near coasts with brisk winds feeding inland. Tonight, again, very cold with widespread frost and icy stretches, scattered wintry showers across the region, some heavy with further dusting frostings of snow in parts. Lowest overnight temperatures -4 to +1 degree Celsius in moderate to fresh northwesterly winds. Tomorrow, Friday, mostly dry with spells of sunshine. A few wintry showers starting out, but some lying snow in parts. Highest temperatures tomorrow 3 to 6 in just light westerly breezes. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 10 o'clock. Check all the day's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
Alliance, we've been in Ireland since 1902, so we've seen a lot. Risings, tigers, clashes, crashes and recovery. And we've been around through it all. So here's to another 120 years of protecting the people of Ireland. Visit alliance.ie for a car, home or pet insurance quote. Existing customers can save an extra 5% when you buy an additional policy online. 5% multi-policy discount in addition to existing online discounts for car, home and pet insurance. Alliance PLC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Standard acceptance criteria, minimum premiums, terms and conditions apply.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. It is 9:04 on this Thursday. It's the 21st of November. How are you all getting on? I do hope you're very well, and you are very welcome along to another edition of the 9 till Noon Show. If you're living across the Northwest, you will know we woke up to a lot of snow and ice and frost this morning. Hopefully it's not too bad weather wherever you're listening to us from. But we're all here and it's business as usual, and the lines are open for you right now. If you want to raise an issue with us or comment on some of the topics and features we've got lined up for you over the next 3 hours, you WhatsApp or text 08660 25000. Feel free to WhatsApp your voice notes if that suits you better. If you want to give us a call and speak to Caroline or Shannon, it's 07491 25000. And emails come in to us at highlandradio.com, and you can email if you're listening to the podcast, or indeed if you are listening overnight. We want your comments as well. And of course the option is always there for you to watch the programme if you wish on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland. That's on your mobile devices, your smart TV or your Fire Stick. Maybe you're picking up a nice smart TV for Black Friday and you can start watching us if you're at home and it suits you. But we're across your mobile devices as well, as I mentioned, on YouTube, on X at Highland Radio, and also on Facebook. Just search us there, you'll find us. Let's have a look at some of the newspapers this morning. Let's start with the Tyrconnell Tribune and some assessment of the election so far. With a week left until polling day, the election has not fired up any real passion or imagination among the public, despite high levels of canvassing. I wonder how engaged are we out there? Well, the leaders' debate on Monday night sent many to sleep before it was halfway through. So far, there's been a disconnect with the electorate, and Donegal is no different, despite the reality that a number of key battles are being fought out in the constituency. In a field of 20 candidates, the tally figures will quickly reveal that the hopes of many candidates will not stretch as far as saving their deposits and expenses. In 2020, the electorate was 125,911, with a valid poll of 62% to give a quota of 12,909. Expect the electorate this time to be around 134,000. However, there is growing uncertainty about the turnout on Friday week. Nevertheless, it's estimated the quota will be around 14,000 should the turnout hold at 62 achieved at the last general election. And legend has it that it's much easier holding on to an existing seat rather than challenging the local Dáil deputy. There will be changes in Donegal, with Joe McHugh gone after a quarter of a century in politics. Fine Gael is facing a battle to hold their seat given their losses in June's local election. Fianna Fáil is bidding to win 2 seats, and Pat the Cope Gallagher is back in the frame and winning votes along the way. And perhaps he was not Fianna Fáil's favourite name going into the convention, but the Cope rose to the challenge in a battle for fair play and recognition for his lifelong work for the party, and is proud to serve for 60 years in good times and bad. And on it goes. Plenty more analysis, as you would expect, on the front of and inside the Tyrconnell Tribune there. The Donegal News lead story is details of planning being approved for an Islamic cultural centre. Letterkenny is set to see the construction of an Islamic cultural centre after plans were given the green light this week, despite residents voicing concerns over traffic congestion, safety, and the close proximity of a holy well. Letterkenny Islamic Association, CLG, lodged plans with Donegal County Council in November of 23, seeking planning permission for the centre at Lissanen and Letterkenny. Plans comprise the construction of an Islamic cultural centre to include the provision of a main building consisting of ground floor and first floor mezzanine prayer hall areas, male and female, a coffee dock, sandwich bar area with associated ancillary spaces, offices, a meeting room and kitchenette, construction of an access road, footpath, car parking, cycle track with all associated retaining structures, site works, landscaping, bin enclosure, connection to the existing public sewer is contained within the application, within the planning permission application. So that's approved there. On to the Derry News this morning, and they report that 2 people have appeared at Derry Magistrates Court on a number of drugs charges, including possession of heroin. A 39-year-old man and a 36-year-old woman appeared and were granted anonymity due to the threat in the city. They were both charged with possession of heroin in November 18th. I wonder, is this the norm in other cities across Ireland and Britain, whereby you can appear in court on certain charges, but your name is not revealed, or your names are not revealed because there could be a threat to you? It just makes you wonder, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it just makes you wonder, why is everyone not sort of offered that level of cover? I presume if you wanted to, especially if there's a crime with a victim, you could argue that anyone who's up in court and their name and address appears in the paper or wherever could be under threat. But obviously, maybe it's a specific situation as it relates to Derry. I don't know. 8 days until you vote in the election if you choose to do so. So plenty of coverage, as you can imagine, across the nationals in Ireland. House prices are unlikely to fall in the short term, despite the plethora of election promises, experts have warned. New figures show the cost of an average home jumped 10% in the year to September. Housing Minister Darragh O'Brien claimed his party's plans would spur on home building, which in turn would help cut prices. But independent economic Austin Hughes, economist, he said house price inflation was unlikely to ease off much anytime soon. The CSO figures show that in Dublin, price rises were just short of 11%, with a rise of 9.4% outside of Dublin. But you see, I mean, I'm not an economist by any stretch, but obviously there is a serious demand on housing and not enough housing as it stands, so that's driving prices up. But no matter how many houses you build, I think the drive for demand is going to continue, because more people might go, well, Ireland looks like a nice place to live, I'll go there because there's houses available. Or you could have more people that have moved abroad from Ireland saying, right now maybe it's the time for me to go home because houses are available and affordable. So I can't really see an end to that anytime soon, the way the world's set up now, to be honest with you. So Austin Hughes's analysis doesn't surprise me in the slightest. The Irish Times, so my point being is I can't think you can rely on the market to provide affordable housing simply by building houses. They have to be set to affordable. The Irish Times tells us that the Ukraine embassy in Dublin has criticised a call in Sinn Féin's general election manifesto for countries to stop supplying weapons to the country. I didn't see this. It's an interesting one. In a statement yesterday, the embassy said it was disturbed by the irresponsible call to stop supplying weapons to Ukraine. These weapons allow us to defend Ukrainian people and the global international rule-based security system. Lack of military aid will increase mass killings of Ukrainians and will have catastrophic consequences for the world. In its manifesto, Sinn Féin condemned Russia's war in Ukraine, but went on to say Ukraine, Russia, the United States and the EU should play a role in bringing the conflict to an end by putting the interests of the people of the region above other global interests. It went on to say all sides must cease the current unlimited supply of weapons into Ukraine, which has cost hundreds of thousands of lives. I mean, presumably as part of any, I don't know what they're trying to say in that, but presumably that's what everyone wants, isn't it? An end to the war and therefore an end to the arming of Ukraine. But anyway, the Ukrainian embassy, I was going to say up in arms, but not happy with that. The Irish Daily Mail step up to the plate on debate Taoiseach. Voters are being left shortchanged with only one three-way leaders election debate on TV. I'm not sure voters would see it as being shortchanged, to be honest with you. But anyway, that's how the paper frames it. With only one three-way leaders election debate on TV after Fine Gael cited logistics as to why Simon Harris couldn't take part in a planned showdown. The debate, due to be staged by Sky News and Today FM, was to take place tomorrow at 7 p.m, with both Matt Cooper and a Sky News presenter set to co-host. However, it's no longer going ahead, which means that in addition to the 10-way debate broadcast by RTE on Monday, there's only one more live TV debate before the election, the only 3-way leaders debate before the last general election. There were 5 leaders debates. A professor of politics at Dublin City University, Gary Murphy, told the Irish Daily Mail the debate Monday night was a shambles with 10 on the stage. So yes, I think Fine Gael are making a mistake. I think the public are being a bit shortchanged. What do you think? Do you think they're making a mistake? I don't know Simon Harris's logistics. It doesn't strike me as someone who would purposely try and avoid a debate. That being said, it's going to look like, it can be framed that he's dodging a debate, but also it could be sort of framed that he's dodging a debate on if it's not on RTE, because people will claim, and I'm not sure it's the case, but people will claim that he's perhaps better shielded on RTE. So that's the kind of conversation it opens up when he refuses to take part. I don't feel shortchanged personally, but that's grand. The Irish Farmers Journal, outgoing Taoiseach Simon Harris has pledged that his party will review how far payments are allocated among farmers, and stated that schemes have to become more farmer friendly. In a bid to sway the farming vote towards Fine Gael on election day, he said the payment model of costs incurred and income foregone needs to be changed. The thing that is a little bit, a little bit obvious, and it's not a commentary on anyone's policies or what have you, but it is kind of an obvious question that why now, right? So in terms of the VAT rates, the government wouldn't entertain VAT cuts for hospitality in the budget, but now everything's on the table. Farmers might say, well, we've had 13 years to make it simpler for us to draw down on these monies. Like, why now, in the mouth of an election, all of a sudden is it a priority to make it easier, and so on and so forth? And I think that's all the kind of stuff people consider, I suppose, when they're trying to decide who to vote for. Maybe they're content with the way things are. Maybe they want change. It's up to each individual, of course. Just an update on the ongoing Garda investigation into the Dublin riots, and one of those involved got quite a stiff sentence. He threw a burning box into a cop car. I remember watching this live, actually. I was thinking, why are you doing that? But anyway, this fella, he threw a burning box into a cop car to set it on fire during the Dublin riots. He's been jailed for 6.5 years. Declan Donaghy, 28, also attacked a migrant centre on the night of hell, as they framed it. He admitted to arson, violent disorder and criminal damage on November 23rd, 2023. And in a handwritten letter read to Dublin Circuit Criminal Court, Donaghy apologised to the government and everyone involved. Yesterday, Judge Orla Crow noted there was €16,000 worth of damage done to Dublin city domes, which had 50 residents on the day. However, a further €53,000 was spent on security personnel following the attack. He sentenced to 6.5 years. And the Gardaí are looking to track down more people, somewhat in a controversial move. They published the images of in excess of 100 people to try and get information on them from the public. Well, Gardaí have now removed photos of 18 people officers were seeking to identify as part of their probe into the Dublin riots. This is the Irish Daily Mirror. Officers had released 99 images of persons of interest in the probe in the hope the public could help identify them. They also said they wanted anyone who recognised themselves in the images released by specialist teams at Store Street Station to come forward as well. Gardaí also stressed that the persons of intent could be ruled out or in from the probe. Okay, but I don't think I'm compromising any potential court cases here. I mean, a lot of these images were people in a shop in CCTV that was closed with 3 boxes of shoes in their hands. So I'm not sure how they would come forward and mitigate that. But anyway, the Gardaí is saying that to cover themselves. 5 images were removed from the list within hours of it being published on Tuesday morning, and a further 13 taken off yesterday. There's still a bit of controversy about that type of a move, but that controversy quickly died down, obviously. And finally, in the Irish Daily Star, thousands of women could sue one of the world's biggest pharmaceutical companies after using its cancer-causing talcum powder. I've avoided talcum powder for years off the back of early concerns I heard in relation to this. It's primarily women, but anyway, it still concerned me. Lawyers working on behalf of cancer victims and their relatives are launching a group action against Johnson & Johnson, the biggest seller of talcum powder. KP Law has issued a letter to the firm which has until the end of the year to respond before documents will be filed in the High Court. It comes amid growing fears asbestos in its products allegedly gave them ovarian cancer. And I remember hearing those warnings and those concerns on that many years ago. Okay, so that's some of the stories making the papers today. Anything of interest there and you want to comment, you know the numbers, get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be back very shortly.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Sponsor of the 9 till noon show, Kernan's Diner, Newton Cunningham, with ample parking for buses and large groups, delicious breakfasts and hearty lunches. It's the ideal spot for a quick bite or leisurely meal.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Ballyboufey should attend the clinic in Jackson's Hotel in Ballyboufey on Wednesday 20th and Thursday 21st. Making an appointment is recommended, so call 1-800-731-137 or visit our website to book your time. New donors are vital. Visit giveblood.ie to check eligibility and clinic details, because we count on you.
Me and the Minions are on a road trip. Yeah! To spread the word that Sky Full Fibre Broadband is now available in more homes across Ireland.
Voila!
So, Stuart, where are we going? Okay, Letterkenny. Then Lifford. Oh, and Bundoran too. Keep an eye out for 99.9% reliable Sky Full Fibre Broadband. Well, crank up the tunes, Kevin, and off we go. Search Sky Broadband today. Availability subject to location. See sky.ie/speeds.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and at Home Store and More, we've everything you'll need to make merry for sure. From twinkling lights and festive decor to cosy throws, we've got it and more. Choose from our extensive range of half-price Christmas tree lights to light up your home blue or bright or glowing warm white. And a Christmas tree, or maybe even two, will make your home feel even more right. Enjoy Christmas. Visit us in-store, shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Hi, I'm at the Garda station, but it's nothing. I told this girl I was seeing for a while that I'd put shots of her up online. Shots she sent me, so they're mine, really. I only said I'd do it, but the guards are saying that's a crime now. It's not my fault, Mum. I didn't do anything. I only said I would.
Threatening to share intimate images is a crime with serious consequences. Contact your local Garda station if you need to report it. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Join us for a festive evening at Homeland Letterkenny on Thursday 21st of November. Save 20% on all Christmas decor with late night opening until 8 p.m. Festive music, refreshments and more. For more information visit homeland.ie.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
The time's 21 minutes past 9. And was genuinely personally upset to hear of the news of the passing of one of Donegal's most persistent, hard-working politicians, Seamus Rogers. He has sadly passed away at the age of 90. He was first elected onto Donegal County Council in 1960, and he contested 12 Dáil elections, a council seat 11 times. He had the hat in the ring for 2 European elections and also stood in three Údaras na Gaeltachtar elections. He was also involved with the SIPTIB trade union. He was an official there, and on it goes. His life work, an incredibly busy one, and very much dedicated to the people, the public and workers. Dinny McGinley is a former Fine Gael deputy and Minister of State in the Gaeltacht and lived close to Seamus, and of course paths would have crossed on many occasions. Dinny, good morning to you, and sorry to be speaking to you in the wake of this sad news.
Good morning, Greg, and it came to a great shock to all of us this morning to hear the sad news that Seamus Rogers has passed away. a man who has been in public life and a public person here in Donegal long before I ever even thought of going into politics, and has been a public person right up to the time of his death. Not alone was he a political colleague in hand, we all were at the same game for a long number of years, but he was also, I would consider him a dear personal friend, and I think that that was mutual. And the first thing I would like to do, of course, is to extend my deepest, sincerest sympathy and condolences to his wife, Teresa, and his daughter, Rosemary. He'll be sadly missed by this area, this part of Donegal, and particularly by his own family.
His contribution politically is extensive. Just 21 years of age when he was elected onto the local council in 1960. So a young man, but clearly a man that even at that young age saw that there were gaps that needed to be filled, and he felt he was that person to do it.
Absolutely. I know that Seamus Rogers was a public representative, an elected public representative, 20 years before I even considered it. And we were there together for almost 35. I've been there for almost 35 years, and Seamus was still, though not an elected public representative, still a spokesman on behalf of his party, the Labour Party. He was always there and always available to give their line, whether it was whatever issue was involved, or whether it was, or even during elections. He had a long record. I don't know how many elections, between county council elections, elections for Dáil Éireann, elections for Údarás na Gaeltachta. I think it was probably a national record. And as I said, Seamus was liked and admired by everyone. I would say that Seamus was one of the few people who never made an enemy in politics, but it was all friends. And he was very involved, not alone in politics, but in sport, of course. He was a founder member of the local GA, the Muya, and president of it for many years. And he also was president or a chairman of the county board of the GA. And he was involved in so many other activities to do, whether it was care of the aged. He was particularly interested in the welfare of the islands. And many of the time during the elections, we were in Armore. And I remember the first time I was in Armore, I think it was 1980-81, a wet Sunday it was. Seamus was there as well. He had two important people who became very legal luminaries afterwards. And I happened to have one of these megaphones, and I was only glad to hand it over to them for their use a wet Sunday morning outside the church in Armore. I think it was 1980. Particularly interested, I say, in the islands, care of the aged. No matter what issue was involved, Seamus had something to say, something to contribute, and he was dedicated, and he was sincere, and he was liked. And when he ceased being a public representative, he still was there. We'd been to wakes and we'd been funerals, and Seamus was always there as well. Always acted and worked on behalf of his people and on behalf of the public. And he was, of course, very interested in the Irish language and always used it at any time it was possible. He was an institution in West Donegal, Seamus Rogers, liked by everyone, dedicated, as I say, and sincere.
If the absolute majority of us will never stand for election, what does it take to contest the 12 Dáil elections, 11 council elections, 2 Europeans, 3 Údarás, whilst also being involved as broadly as it was in the community? I mean, that takes a special level of dedication, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Seamus devoted his entire life to it, right up to these last number of months. He still was involved. It's not so long ago, a few weeks, maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, he was on the phone to me about something, and we had a chat, and he was still as interested in what was going on as I was the first day that I met him. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes I mean, you put everything, you put all your whole into being, working for the people and doing your best. And of course, he had a great support at home as well. His wife Teresa was there, was there for him all the time, and as was his beloved daughter Rosemary, who's doing so very well, went on now, and she has carved out for herself a legal career as well.
Yes, and of course, whilst he was able to, have an influence whilst elected, I think there's no doubt, given how vocal he was and how he was, he seemed to always raise issues that were very of the people, if you know where I'm coming from with that. So even when not elected, I've no doubt that he held the feet to the fire of a lot of people who were elected, and progress was made in that way through him as well.
Well, I know my own experience, my brief time as a minister for 3 or 4 years, he was continuously on. I remember he was very anxious that some facilities should be provided for the Moya there, lighting for the pitch there. And I remember we didn't have much money, but we were able to give allocate some money at that time. He was kind enough to invite me over to switch it on, but it would never have happened only for the continuous representation by Seamus for that particular facility and the field over there in as we call the Banks, the area there. He was always advocating and always making representations about various things. If there's something he wanted to raise in the dollar question or something like that, I often had word from him, but was only too glad to put down and table a question for him. Now, so I think that we have the Irish language in common, and we were close neighbours, and if I had any problem to do with the county council that I thought Seamus would give some assistance, he was more than ready to help. So he was able to he cooperated with everyone. As I say, he didn't have one enemy, and he met so many councillors come and councillors go. After all, he was there for almost 40 years, and I don't think that he ever had a cross word with one of them.
All right.
And that is my opinion.
Thank you so very much for that, Dinny McGinley, former Fine Gael deputy.
It's a sad day.
It is, indeed.
It's the end of an era here in this area at the Passion of Seamus, and I think we're all so sorry. And again, my deepest sympathy to Teresa, Rosemary, and indeed his many, many relations and friends and neighbours.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Dinny McGinley, former Fine Gael deputy and Minister of State in the Gaeltacht. We're also joined by Pat the Coke Gallagher. Pat, thanks very much for joining us. And again, just like my opening remarks to Denny, sad to be speaking to you in the wake of this sad news of a legend of Donegal politics and his passing.
Yes, Greg, a dark cloud descended over Donegal this morning when the news broke of Seamus Rogers' death. He had been ill for some time, and of course, Seamus, a legend. Even in his own lifetime, he served the people of West Donegal and the entire county for many years. When he was first elected as a young man onto Donegal County Council, and at all subsequent elections until he decided to stand down. Seamus Rogers touched the lives of so many people. I remember when I served with him in the council, I was elected. He was a member in 1979. He was helpful to me, and I was there until 1991. And in all that time, we never crossed a word. He, of course, is interrelated. My wife, Anne, is a first cousin of Seamus's, big connection of that family. He was very involved in housing at the time, and I think he would be saddened now if he were to see the slow progress that's been made in housing. We at that time were pursuing the SI cottages, people building on their own land, and the houses were mushrooming at that time. But Seamus, as Denny has said, he was very involved in the Irish language, the GAA, all cultural activities. But I will remember Seamus for meetings prior to the building of the houses by the parents and friends. This is a part of him that many people didn't see. He was very involved with that committee, as was the late Noreen McGarvey. 3 houses, 12 units, state-of-the-art units built at Fairhill Dunlow. I had the pleasure of opening them. Unfortunately, Seamus, due to ill health, wasn't able to attend. But he'll be remembered for so many things that he did publicly. But more importantly, the many things that he would have done privately and assisting people, and particularly on Arnmore Island and right across the county.
Yeah, indeed. Pat the Cope Gallagher, thank you so very much indeed for those kind words. Remembering Seamus Rogers, who passed away at Letterkenny University Hospital of Annagree West, of course. His remains will be reposing at McGlynn's Funeral Home this evening from 5 o'clock, Rosary at 8. Tomorrow, Friday, reposing from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock with a private removal to his own house. And the house then will be private the morning of the funeral as well. Funeral mass is on Saturday morning in the Star of the Sea Church, Annagree at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the Old Cemetery. And someone who would have known Seamus well and who would have shared the council chamber with him on many, many, many occasions is former councillor Ian McGarvey. Imagine why, Ian. Thanks so much for joining us.
Imagine why, Greg, that's Bruno Mission.
He, like you, Ian, had a particular interest in the elderly. I think I don't think I'm inaccurate in saying that. That's something I've
you're right, Greg, because
associated you with, Mr. Rogers.
He used to come out to the meetings and everything else along with others. Fred Call, for example, people like that. And even the friends of the hospital. And now, actually during the week, this is unbelievable. I was talking to Mary Boyle, I was trying to contact Seamus as well, because recall all the time how dedicated he had been. There was one example of Seamus Rogers, and I was going to the Islands Committee meetings, and he was raising about the Doctor's Road in Arnmore. And I never saw a man so dedicated to get something done as Seamus Rogers was. But he was the same in everything, and I couldn't let it pass when I heard it this morning, and it's so regrettable because I was trying to contact him there last week through Mary Boyle in the council offices in Dunlo, and she said he hadn't been so well, and I was very sorry to hear that. So to be associated with the family and to all the people who knew Seamus Rogers, I'd like to convey my sincere sympathy at his passing, because people like that, the contribution they made, you couldn't determine the value of it as well over the years. And during my time in the council, and during my time attending the Islands Committee in Dunlo and all the rest of it, Seamus Rogers was so dedicated, and it's quite regrettable and strange to say that I was only accidentally heard it this morning. Other than that, it would have happened without me knowing. But as I say again, Greg, thanks for taking me on, number one, and number two, the opportunity to convey my sympathy to relatives, friends of Seamus's, and everybody else associated in the West.
Okay.
So thanks very much.
Ian, thank you so much for that. I do appreciate it. Seamus Bovairds, current chairman of the Labour Party in Donegal, and for many of us, Seamus, and for many still, I suppose, and this is not a slight on the Labour Party, more of a credit to Seamus Rogers latterly. He was, Mr. Labour, is how I would have viewed him, to be honest with you.
Yes, he was. He flew the flag for over 60 years and put his head above the parapet on certain subjects that others wouldn't have. So credit where credit's due. I met him a good while ago when he was sort of a legend then. And the contact that he had, he knew everybody, knew all about them, knew what people wanted. He had a knowledge of his, what would you call it, his territory.
Mm-hmm.
Like between the time when all the Uderus factories were on the go, and then latterly in Letterkenny with SUP2, he was out and about all the time. He knew exactly, he knew the pulse of the county.
Yeah, and obviously it's the end of an era, but a legacy that will last a lifetime. There's just absolutely no doubt about that. I think nowadays what we see is politicians, and no criticism of them, can retire quite young. We've seen politicians retiring in their 30s or 40s and 50s and moving on to life after politics. His persistence to the cause is unmatched, I think, in terms of his longevity on the council, his working in local politics, both elected, non-elected, and also that drive and determination, even when odds were stacked against him, to have his name and the Labour Party emblem on on that polling card. Such a level of commitment that I'm not sure we'll ever see again. We certainly won't see much of it again. Just to have someone who was so persistent in fighting for the people of his area.
Yes, he did devote a lifetime to it. We think back of various campaigns that he would have been involved in that were non-political, shall we say, local support. People, like, he had a network, so if you asked him for help, if he didn't know, he knew someone who did.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
And then, as I say, he was always on the batter, as they say. It wasn't just all about politics. There was social issues, community issues that he was engaged in as well. Seamus just lived for the community and he lived for his politics.
Okay, Seamus Bavard, current chair of the Labour Party in Donegal, thank you. We'll be back with more after this quick break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kernan's Diner, Newton Cunningham. Try our famous trucker stop breakfast. Fresh fish and chips or gourmet burgers. Delicious meals and welcoming service await you at Kernan's.
At Specsavers, we've got hearing devices that can stream music or movies. Ones that are good in crowds, rechargeable battery ones that are good at home, ones that are good in the great outdoors, ones that connect to phones, ones that fit in your ear, ones that fit over your ear, ones that fit in wherever you happen to be. We've even got ones with the latest advanced tech, like the Phonak Infinio Sphere. And they're all available at great Specsavers prices. So book a free hearing check today. OK Hearing is not okay.
Stay warm for less with your local Homeland this winter. Homefire Fire Gold Smokeless Fuel, buy 10 bags, get 1 free. Cozy Home Fire Log, buy 3 for €5. Hardwood Logs, buy 2 bags for €12. All this and more. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie. Local and nationwide delivery available.
Ready to transform your smile? Discover the magic of Blue Poppy Dental in Letterkenny and Donegal Town. With implantologists, surgical and cosmetic dentists, orthodontists and an endodontist all under one roof, we've got all your dental needs covered. Starting your journey is easy. Call us on 074 91 20355 or book your appointment online anytime through our user-friendly patient portal at bluepoppydental.com. Blue Poppy Dental and Orthodontics, where smiles shine brighter.
Are you ready to flip, tumble and soar over to Michael Murphy Sports to get your hands on the Kids Nastics Gym Range? The ultimate gift for the young gymnast in your family. Whether they're just starting or perfecting their routine, Kids Nastics has everything from wedge mats to balance beams in a range of vibrant colours and styles. See michaelmurphysports.ie.
Back to the drawing board on farm payments. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, find out which political party is planning to revamp your cap payments. Meat factory convicted for not paying for farmers' cattle. Farmers warned to do their sums on land leases. How Donald Trump is costing Kerry Co-op money. Full coverage of fat stock sales as heifer hits €18,000. Plus, don't miss our Christmas gift guide with advice on Black Friday shopping on a budget. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Come and visit our Black Friday sale this November at Braden's House Home Interiors, Moville and Bridgend. We have reduced recliner and fabric suites, dining tables and chairs, beds and mattresses. And don't forget about our large flooring department stocking carpet, vinyl and laminate flooring. We can't be beaten on prices across all departments where prices are slashed in our latest sale. So call in today to Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville or Bridgend for all your home furnishing needs.
We are continuing our reflections on the very sad passing of Seamus Rogers. He's died at the age of 90, and for many of us, he will be associated with Labour, but he was also involved in other areas of politics as well. We have Deputy Pearse Doherty of Sinn Féin with us as well. Deputy Doherty, thank you for joining us to remember Seamus this morning.
Thank you, Greg, and thanks just
give me the opportunity, because Seamus was a giant of political politics. He ran in, I think, all of the different elections down throughout the years. Long before I was even born, he was running for elections, and actually ran for Sinn Féin and was elected to the council. And obviously then was in Sinn Féin and the Workers' Party, and then the Workers' Party and Democratic Left and Labour Party. And, he was always a person who put his community first. I know going around canvassing, Greg, you still hear, if you're out around Arnmore or Leitrimach Ward or indeed in Annagray, you'll still hear people talk about Seamus Rogers, and indeed some people would always say that they always thought, sometimes they thought he was still Sinn Féin, but the work and his legacy that he left behind was massive. And I was up in the house yesterday as I was on my campaign trail and heard the news that he was taken to hospital, and I'm deeply sorry to learn late last night that he had passed away. But he was people talk about people when they pass, but Seamus Rogers was such a fellow of integrity, such a man of integrity, such a man of compassion, and he really, really deeply believed in his community, deeply believed in the working person in working class communities and the Gaeltacht communities, his work for the older people, and his work in terms of trade unionism. And it's really sad to see that somebody of the stature of Seamus has passed, and I really feel for his family today, for his wife Teresa, Rosemary, and his sisters who are obviously grieving today on that news.
Yeah, it's incredibly sad. Pierce, when you talked outside, not outside of politics, okay, but not in a chamber or in a political a political environment, was the conversation always political? I know you did know him well, or did he like to talk about other things with you, or did it always come round to maybe pushing the case for his local community?
Look, the conversations we always had were very political. I think Seamus, if you look at his legacy right back from the 1960s, was campaigning and fighting elections. Indeed, I was just actually remarking yesterday to some of my own staff before I called up to Seamus's house is, who's running for Labour in the election, because there was one kind of certainty right throughout life from the 1960s is Seamus Rogers' name was on the ballot paper, but it was always local issues. It was always about the Gaeltacht communities, the island communities, the working person. It was he was deeply rooted in politics. He had a passion about it, and that's why he continued to strive. And he was obviously a big a sports person, GA person. He was rooted in everything in terms of his community, and he was just one of those people who was kind of gentle, compassionate, kind, and always there for you, always there for his community. And even though in many of the elections he stood in, whether it was general or European or in later times, council elections, he was still, as I said, representing his community, and that was coming back to me on the doorstep when I became canvassing. That Seamus was always there for them.
Okay, Deputy Pierce Doherty of Sinn Féin, thank you very much for your time. And of course, we extend our sympathies, as everyone who's joined us today has, and I'm sure all of you out there listening will be today, to his wife Teresa, a native of Glentees, his daughter Rosemary, who's based in Sligo, as you heard referenced, as well as his two sisters, Breed Wilson of Annagry and Mary McCafferty of Dunlewy. He is predeceased by his brother Joe and parents Mary and Eddie Rogers. His remains are reposing at his home this evening from 5, with Rosary 8. Tomorrow, reposing from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock, with a private removal to his own house. Sorry, can I just clarify that for one moment? Seamus's remains will be reposing at McGlynn's funeral home this evening from 5, with Rosary 8. So just to clarify, Seamus's remains reposing this evening at McGlynn's funeral home. Tomorrow, reposing at McGlynn's funeral home from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock, then with private removal to his own house, and his own house will be private the morning of the funeral as well. And funeral masses on Saturday in Starvesey Church, Annagry, at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the old cemetery. And just to make sure it's absolutely clear, Seamus's remains will be reposing at McGlynn's funeral home this evening from 5, and tomorrow between 3 and 6. We'll be back soon.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you by Kiernan's Bistros at Letterkenny Retail Park. Our new second location is now open beside the new Dunn stores. Join us soon for good food and great coffee at Kiernan's Bistros, Letterkenny.
This weekend at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. Saturday 23rd, enjoy Seeger Sessions Revival, a fantastic 13-piece band. Doors open 7 p.m. Tickets $29.50 at the door. Sunday 24th, it's Country Sunday with Tammy Meehan from 8:15. Followed by Robert Mazzell and his band. Admission €20. This weekend at the Clanry Hotel.
It's flu season, and children are twice as likely as adults to catch the flu, which can sometimes cause serious illness. That's why all children aged 2 to 17 can get their free nasal spray flu vaccine, a safe and effective way to protect them, and the rest of your family too. So make an appointment with your GP or pharmacist. Visit hsc.ie/flu for more information. From the HSC.
Niamh Padraig Eshgaheen are on the brink of claiming a first ever Ulster Club title. The Inishonside face Derry's Craigban in the Provincial Junior Championship final this Saturday afternoon. Join the Highland team for big match coverage from the 1:30 throw-in at Celtic Park. Brought to you in association with Doherty Centra Muff. Proud to support our local teams. As your trusted local store, we're always here for the community.
Testing. Do you need to get your hearing tested? Test your hearing with a free sample hearing aid from Hidden Hearing. Order your free sample hearing aid today. Call 1-800-370-000 or visit hiddenhearing.ie.
Say goodbye to traditional peat briquettes and embrace the new sustainable alternative, Zip 100% natural heat logs. Simply add them to a lit fire. These super efficient, low moisture Zip heat logs burn longer and hotter than wood, making them the cost-effective way to heat your home. And they also produce less ash than peat briquettes, meaning reduced cleaning between fires. Zip 100% natural heat logs are available in all good retailers. Give your fire some zip.
Get ready for a night of great music at the Highland Radio Christmas Concert on Monday the 9th of December at the Mount Errigal Hotel in Letterkenny. Join us with an incredible lineup of Mike Denver and his band, John McNichol, Jim Devine, Donna Taggart, Owen Mack and myself, David James. Get your tickets now at the outlet on highlandradio.com or call 074 91 25000.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
So it's another bitterly cold day with a mix of sunny spells and scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow. Showers will be most frequent across northern fringes. Frost and ice in places too. Temperatures just 2 to 5 degrees today. Now we have on the programme with us Councillor Paul Canning, who we invited on a different issue. But Paul, just to give you an opportunity, of course, before we talk about that other issue, to mention Seamus Rogers, who you served with on Donegal County Council. Are you there, Paul? No, I've lost Paul. We'll get back to Paul in a moment. Okay. Right, let's get to some comments. Good morning, Greg. Not everyone wants the Ukrainian war to end. The British have prevented a deal being done on it for over a year by Boris Johnson. The US and NATO continually provoke Russia and have done for years. A whole generation of Ukrainians have been annihilated, with only those that got out surviving. As for their billionaire dictator, Zelensky, with as much blood on his hands as the UK, USA, I could only imagine what surviving Ukrainians think of him. Well, I mean, I suppose often when we break things down to the most simplest of parts, and there's no doubt, and I think we said it, and it was discussed on this show from day one, that this was a proxy war, of course. But Russia aren't angels either, not the Russian people as such, but certainly through Vladimir Putin, and he has his own ambitions and his own pushing for power and to readjust the world order as well. He's very keen on a new world order, so there's an awful lot in it for him as well. He's not sitting there as some sort of a victim. Paul Canning, sorry, you are there now, Paul. As I say, we're going to talk about an issue raised by a listener, but as I mentioned just before I lost you there, I'm sure you want to mention the late Seamus Rogers, who you served with on the council.
Yeah, definitely. I want to pay tribute to Seamus Rogers and condolences to his wife, Teresa, and to his daughter, Rosemary. Seamus was I was the chair of the planning SPC for a good few years, and
Seamus was on the planning. SBC never missed a meeting. Last man to go, and he was like a dog with a bone. They always kept going back to his, he had great enthusiasm and great energy, and was genuine, a very genuine man. So it's sad to hear the news this morning, but as I say, condolences to his family and his friends.
For sure, but what a legacy and a life story for us all to be able to reflect on for many years to come. Now, we received a WhatsApp from a listener, and it says, does any of the 9 till noon show listeners know what this sign might be for? It looks like it could be for a permanent speed camera. If that's the case, would it be the first one in Donegal? Also, it seems like an odd spot for barriers right on a straight stretch of road between Newton and Manor. Now, those watching will be able to see this. It is a yellow post with an arm coming out and then an arm going up sort of in an L shape on its side. It does look like it is designed to accommodate a speed camera. Do you know what it's for, Paul?
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a speed camera, and it's sort of a collaboration of Donegal County Council, TI, and the Garda and the Go Save. And there's going to be a permanent, and you're right, it's the first in the county, and it's going to be a permanent speed camera. And actually, there's only out in the rural area, there's only 6 in the country. There's another 2. There's one in Mayo. There's another one in Mayo, and there's one in Cavan. So no, that the situation with it is. We do our traffic analysis, and there's a lot of speed on that stretch of the road, and we have a junction there that takes a lot of traffic to Lufford. It's I would know it as locally as the Galna junction. So we are looking at that whole design of that junction as well, but we have to take one step at a time. So this is where the speed cameras coming into play.
And how does that work, Paul? Do they say, look, we're thinking of sticking, we only have a handful of them, we're thinking of sticking one permanent camera in, where do you want it to go? Or was this off the back of concerns about that junction and speeding in the area and applying for one of these cameras? What's the mechanics of that?
Yeah, the mechanics of it, the conversation goes on with the Gardaí, and unfortunately, and we've been told a lot of the times where people don't report the minor accidents, they sort of agree among themselves, and the accidents is not reported, and then we're not getting the true figures a lot of the time. But it's based on figures and on accidents on stretches of roads, and that's where the initial planning starts from.
Do we know if this camera is catching traffic on both sides? Is it going to be one of those dual cameras where one's pointing up the way and one's pointing down the way?
I would say within a week of it being up, we'll know. Aye. I don't know. I can't tell you the day. I don't know, but I'm sure people will get to know about it. But listen, the main objective is to slow the traffic down. There's serious speed that comes when you're coming from the Letterkenny area heading in the Derry direction, coming over that hill, and there is cars then that's trying to manoeuvre into the Galna Road, and you have traffic maybe passing 3 cars behind, and then all of a sudden there's a serious accident there.
And that's exactly what we want to avoid. I hope
we want to avoid that.
I hope there's adequate signage, particularly on the Derry side. I think it's the Derry side where it's you're coming round a corner, you could get caught out there very easily. You shouldn't be speeding in the first place, of course. And just finally and briefly, the function of the barriers on a straight stretch of road, is that the norm with when there is a static speed camera there, or what's the logic there?
Yeah, it's to protect the camera, as to keep traffic out, because the camera will be a little bit further out at the top, so you could have a vehicle pulling on there, and it's to keep a distance. We'll say you had a lorry just pulled down and it wanted to get it off the hard shoulder. The barrier keeps it out that it's not catching on the camera.
And as you say that, you can sort of see the logic of that. Okay, listen. Thanks very much.
If this works, we will be rolling it out through other areas of the county as well. Hopefully, so hopefully it does work.
We shall see. Listen, Paul, thank you very much indeed, Councillor Paul Canning there. Time for a break for the news and obituary notices. We'll be right back.
Good day start with a great morning. Start your day at Kiernan's Bistros in Letterkenny Retail Park. If you're on the road or in the area, drop in for a great coffee and wholesome food. Kiernan's Bistros, proud sponsors of today's 9 till noon show. Plan the perfect weekend escape from Donegal to Glasgow with Loganair. Enjoy convenient flights every Friday and Sunday with a complimentary 15 kg check-in bag. Experience hassle-free travel and book your getaway now at loganair.co.uk.
Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores with festive savings on a great variety of tasty treats like Cadbury chocolate pouches and large cans of Pringles, now half price. And fill the fridge with a range of refreshing soft drinks like 7up 2 litres and Club Orange 1.75 litres, also half price. Plus, you can save again at the till with a 10 off 50 grocery voucher. However you do your Christmas shop, make Christmas for everyone with Dunnes Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used in next grocery shop with €50 or more. Prices subject to deposit return scheme fees.
Sheridan Security now introducing zero-wire smart alarm systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe, and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
Looking for the best rates on foreign currency? Visit Bureau Express on Lifford Road, Strabane. We offer special rates for commercial customers competitive with banks on currencies like euro and sterling and dollars. With 60 currencies and free parking, we're your one-stop shop. Call 028 7188 2081. We're the last turn-off before the Asda roundabout. Bureau Express, Strabane.
Don't miss your chance to take a closer look at Cooper's latest models in Ireland. Introducing the Cooper Terramar, our sporty SUV available in PHEV, petrol and mild hybrid. And the all-new Cooper Tavascan, our first 100% electric SUV coupe. Join us for an exclusive preview event from now to the 28th of November to see these stunning vehicles up close. DMG Cooper, Clare Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 07497 21396 or log on to dmgmotors.ie for more details.
Enhanced TFI Local Link Route 953. Greencastle to Letterkenny now operates 8 daily return services Monday to Friday, 7 daily return services on Saturday and 6 daily return services on Sunday. Route 953 provides peak time and evening services, connectivity to ATU Donegal and regional bus services. We're Transport for Ireland. We're Transport for you. See locallinkdsl.ie for more. Brought to you as part of the Connecting Ireland Rural Mobility Plan.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with the news at 10 o'clock. Former Donegal councillor Seamus Rogers has died. He was aged 90 years old. A trade union official, he was first elected onto council in 1960 as a member of Sinn Féin. After the party split, he aligned with the Workers' Party, going on to serve as a member of Democratic Left and then the Labour Party. He lost his council seat in 1999 after serving nearly 40 years, but remained on as a community worker and activist for the rest of his life. As well as numerous local elections, he contested 12 Dáil elections and 2 European elections. On this morning's 9 till noon show, former TD and Junior Minister Denny McGinley paid tribute.
Seamus was liked and admired by everyone. I would say that Seamus was one of the few people who never made an enemy in politics, for it was all friends. And he was very involved, not alone in politics, but in sport, of course. He was a founder member of the local GA, the Muya, and president of it for many years. And he also was president or a chairman of the county board of the GA.
Snow is still falling in many parts of the country and the yellow warning for Donegal has been extended until midday tomorrow. It warns of widespread frost, icy stretches and lying snow persisting. Mayo, Galway, Kerry, Limerick and North Cork are among the areas worst affected by heavy snowfall overnight. A Buncrana councillor has expressed concern about reports that a group of young people attempted to set fire to the Festival Park play area earlier this week. The incident happened on Tuesday night. Councillor Joy Beard is urging those responsible to stop and is asking parents to speak to their children. She says Gardaí are investigating the incident.
Thankfully, on this occasion, there was no major damage done, but it's extremely disheartening that a group of people went down there and tried to set fire to the play park. I would like to urge anyone going down to the play park that they act responsibly. They need to think about their actions and the implications that their actions have. We have a fabulous, fabulous play park there that's fully accessible for everyone to enjoy, and this just cannot continue. There is CCTV in the playground and the guards have been made aware.
It's been confirmed that the Dunfanaghy Health Centre will be fully connected to broadband this coming week. General election candidate Pat the Cope Gallagher says he's been told that the splicing of fibre optic cables to the centre will be completed by early next week, providing the connectivity necessary for the installation and commissioning of the necessary IT equipment to allow the health centre to open by mid-December. The North's Justice Minister has confirmed extra funding is being made available to the Policing and Community Safety Partnership in Derry to facilitate its work to tackle violence in women and girls. It follows a marked increase in reported incidents of physical and sexual violence in Derry and the wider Northwest, a number of them fatal. Minister Naomi Long was answering questions in the Assembly from Foyle MLA Gary Middleton and East Derry MLA Cara Hunter.
Can I ask the Minister, since these attacks just weeks previous, has she engaged with the local PCSP in Derry and the wider Northwest area?
Yes, we have, through the department, engaged with the PCSP in terms of additional funding and how they're spending the money that they have at the moment. It is something I'm aware, for example, that the PSNI have increased patrols. The PCSP also has, I think, some additional measures in place. If people remain fearful, that is something that is, to me, unacceptable. We need to change the culture.
Donegal County Council has been shortlisted for the prestigious Local Authority of the Year award at this year's Chamber Ireland's Excellent in Local Government Awards. The award ceremony takes place in Dublin this evening, with Donegal County Council one of 3 local authorities that have been shortlisted. The council is also shortlisted in the Climate Change, Festival of the Year, Health and Wellbeing, Heritage and Built Environment, Promoting Economic Development and Supporting Sustainability Communities. Looking now to weather, another bitterly cold day with a mix of sunny spells and scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow. Showers will be most frequent across the northern fringes. Frost and ice in places too, highs of just 2 to 5 degrees. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. We'll be back with more at 11 o'clock.
The obituary notices for this Thursday morning, the 21st of November. The death has taken place at his home of Patrick Joseph Logue, 44 Cedar Grove, Carndonagh. Paddy will leave Kelly's funeral home, Station Road, Carndonagh, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, going to his late residence. Removal from there on Sunday morning at 10:30 to Sacred Heart Church, Carndonagh, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by burial in Lag Cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on Carndonagh Parish, Derry Diocese, Ireland. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to St Vincent de Paul, Carndonagh, care of any family member or Kelly's funeral directors. Family time, please, from 9 p.m. to 11 a.m. The death has occurred of Seamus Rogers, Annagra West. Seamus's remains will repose at Midlin's funeral home this evening from 5 o'clock, with rosary at 8 o'clock and again tomorrow from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock. Private removal afterwards to his home, which will be private. Funeral Mass on Saturday morning in Star of the Sea Church, Annagry at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the Old Cemetery. The death has occurred of Anne Cullen, née Sheridan, Market Street, Rathmullen, reposing at her home from 4 o'clock this afternoon until after the Rosary at 9. Requiem Mass tomorrow afternoon at 12:30 in St Joseph's Church, Rathmullen, followed by interment in the adjacent cemetery. Family time, please, before the funeral tomorrow. The Mass can be viewed on mcn.live. The death has taken place of Brian Superina, Gortani, Quigley's Point, formerly of Sydney. Brian's remains will repose at Eamon McLaughlin's funeral home, Station Road, Carndonagh, today from 3 o'clock until 5, and again tomorrow from 3 o'clock until 5, followed by removal at 5 to St Mary's Church, Lag, to repose overnight. Brian's funeral mass will take place on Saturday morning at 10, followed by interment in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, funeral director. The death has taken place of Mary Rose Blaney, née Began, Rosnakill Famid, formerly of Ahabog Monaghan. Her remains are reposing at her late residence with family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight. Rosary at 8 o'clock. Funeral Mass in Massmount Fanid tomorrow morning at 11, followed by interment in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only, please. The death has occurred in Surrey, England, of Bridget Bridie Brooke, née Patton, formerly of Balnacore, Crossroads, Killygordon. Remains reposing at her niece Mrs Patricia McGovern's residence at Drumavish, Crossroads, Killygordon, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. this evening. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 20 past 10 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon, followed by interment in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on the Killygordon Parish YouTube channel. Family time, please, before the funeral tomorrow. And the death has taken place of Roisin Kelly, née Sweeney, 64, Laurel Drive, Strabane, formerly of The Crescent, Clady. Reposing at her home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 20 past 9 for 10 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
VHI Healthcare gives you and your family more. Get access to VHI Paediatric Clinic, urgent care, online doctor, and much more. Search VHI today and get 25% off kids on a range of plans. VHI, because your health means everything. See vhi.ie for range of plans. VHI Healthcare DAC trading as VHI Healthcare is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland and is tied to VHI Insurance DAC for health insurance in Ireland.
Cutting through the spin. The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Okay, so in 8 days' time, we'll be voting in the general election. And for what it's worth, and some people think polls are great and others don't trust them as much, there's an awful lot still to be decided amongst the electorate out there as to who will take the 5 seats. There would seem some certainty in some areas, certainly no certainty in other areas, and questionable conclusions in others. So it is all up for grabs. And we have an opportunity for you next Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, maybe, to finally make up your mind. Your vote is incredibly valuable. Where is it going? It matters. Every single vote matters. This is, of course, the Dáil election 2024. We're focused on the Donegal constituency. 20 candidates are contesting 5 seats, and we've got 3 debates next week. On Monday, we have John McNulty of Fine Gael, Pat the Goat Gallagher of Fianna Fáil, Mary T. Sweeney of Aintu, Pearse Doherty of Sinn Féin, Jerry McKeever Independent, Arthur Desmond McGuinness Independent, and Frank O'Donnell Independent. So a quality lineup there. On Tuesday, Nicky Bradley of Fine Gael, Charlie McConalogue of Fianna Fáil, Pádraig McLaughlin of Sinn Féin, Carol Gallagher of People Before Profit cannot make it, Charles Ward, 100% redress, Vincent J. Bradley Independent. We have had no reply from Noam McConnell Independent. And on Wednesday, we have Claudia Kennedy of Fianna Fáil, Thomas Pringle Independent, Nuala Carr of the Green Party, Eamon McGee of the Irish Freedom Party, and Kim McMenamin, Irish National Alliance. And unfortunately, Noel Jordan of Sinn Féin is not coming. He wasn't coming, then he was, then he isn't. It was a bit of a communications mix-up. So really, of all the candidates, certainly of all the major party candidates, the only person unable to attend is Noel Jordan of Sinn Féin, which is interesting, particularly given what's at stake in the Donegal area. Thomas Pringle in the latest poll, polling very well, of course. Claudia Kennedy is in there hoping to get herself into the mix. And as I mentioned, Nuala Carr of the Green Party will have some interesting things to say, I'm sure. Eamon McGee of the Irish Freedom Party can't make it, sorry. And Kim McMenamin of Irish People National Alliance. So that would have been it is still going to be a very interesting panel, but unfortunately Sinn Féin are not going to be represented on that panel. And it ain't for me to defend them. Right, okay. Isn't it interesting that we heard about the dangers of talc years ago and it was still on sale in shops for several years after? When corporations know that their products are harmful to humans and still sell them, it shows where their priorities lie, and it's not human health. It's an interesting one because just in relation to that, I mean, it's still available, isn't it? If they were to withdraw the product, does that leave them open to billions of euro of claims and an admittance that it is problematic? I don't know. Hi, Greg. Does the Ukrainian ambassador think we're all stupid? Ukraine and Israel are proxies for the US government. Sinn Féin and others should be more outspoken about this and stop wringing their hands and shedding crocodile tears. There is a speed van in Cranford and the roads are slippery. You can only crawl as you have to be safe. What are they trying to achieve? A money-making scheme? Well, it would be a strange money-making machine because where that speed van is located, you'd be lucky to get up to 40 kilometres an hour this morning, let alone the speed limit, which is 80. I think they're scheduled to be there and they've just turned up. Even though if they get anyone today, they deserve to be done for speeding, I would say. Right, okay. Last night, Ballyglisane, Highland Radio's new radio drama, broadcast the first episode. Did you hear it? What did you think? I enjoyed it, but I'd love to get your feedback on it. It's a drama series set in a small town somewhere in the heart of Donegal. You'll probably recognise it because it sounds like everywhere, where we meet various people who live in Ballyglisane and learn about their lives, their problems and their secrets. One storyline follows a murder investigation, but that's not the only story happening in this small town. So you obviously have missed the opportunity to listen to last night's show live, as it was broadcast, not live, but you know what I mean. It is available for you to podcast, I believe, right now. And we're inviting you to join us each week, every Wednesday evening, as the story unfolds and the lives of the residents of Ballyglisane unfold before us. There is that murder investigation to track as well. So did you listen last night or this morning, perhaps, by way of podcast? Let us know. 086 60 25,000. Be interested in your feedback there. And if you haven't listened to it, go over and give it a listen and tell us what you think. It would be interesting. Just before the break, hello, I'm looking for a bit of help. In October, I received a fine in Donegal town for not having an up-to-date tax disc on display. €60 fine. I did, however, pay for my parking. I tried to appeal it with the council and explain that my car had recently broken down twice since August, one time on the way to Letterkenny for my oncology treatment. The second was mid-September. It cost me over €1,000 to get repaired. I always have tax on my car. Rather than getting a letter from the guards to say it was off the road, I paid the back tax. I was just waiting to the end of the month. I explained all this to the council and told them my car is currently broken down again and was towed away last week. They've rejected my appeal and said I have two options, pay the fine or go to court. This has left me very upset. I'm a law-abiding citizen driving for years. It just all seems really unfair. I also think they want people to shop but are charging for parking in the town. It doesn't seem right. Curious as to what your listeners would think. It's an interesting one. So really, from what I can determine here is the car wasn't actually taxed on the day it was parked in Donegal town. And that is a function also of the traffic wardens. The tax has been paid through back tax and what have you. What do you think this person should do? Obviously, the car wasn't taxed, right? I think we've established that from the letter. Do they pay the fine? But if they go to court and explain the situation as they have to us, is it possible that a judge might look favourably on that and sort of take it into account and cancel the fine? Do they have that within their power? I simply don't know. Do they look at it and say, I'm very sorry for your situation, but the car was parked in public and it wasn't taxed, so there's nothing I can do? I don't know what the law is there, but maybe some of you have appealed it in the courts and had a favourable outcome, because of course then you have to, don't you? You can represent yourself, but often you would have to then pay a solicitor. And maybe that person should seek legal advice. And we're not offering legal advice here. We're just asking for other people's experiences. Right, I think we recently gave away a decent chunk of cash as part of the Vision Ireland Radio Bingo. I don't have the stats directly in front of me, but I think it was 400 up for grabs yesterday, so that must have that the daily prize was won. It starts at 400 every single day, and then there's 200 added every day it's not won. That's your daily prize for playing Vision Ireland Radio Bingo. And then there's the big jackpot, which was won not so long ago, over 10 grand, I believe it was. And also what you're actually doing is supporting Vision Ireland. The books are a fiver. They're available in all the local shops to you. Obviously, play for fun, play to support Vision Ireland, and play well within your means. My word, we wouldn't want anyone without money buying these bingo books. But look, you know yourself, you know your own life, but you're also supporting Vision Ireland, which is really important. And there's loads of money being given away all the time. Is the jackpot going to be given away today? I don't know, but here's the numbers, and that might help.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 21st of November, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €7,800 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S14. It's game number 47. The jackpot number is 32. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers: 90, 39, 20, 58, 87, 37, 77, 84, 8, and finally 79. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com. Join us for a festive evening at Homeland Letterkenny on Thursday, 21st of November. Save 20% on all Christmas decor with late night opening until 8 p.m. Festive music, refreshments and more. For more information, visit homeland.ie.
With more routes nationwide, your TFI Local Link bus service provides connection to the wider Transport for Ireland public transport network. Save up to 30% when you use your TFI Leap card on TFI Local Link services. For route and timetable information, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're transport for you.
Hosa give blood punkai eager federlin vehe braharif. Pobl don't tori folla dorgrid. Le veher fall de rine elle agus iad de gru hos. Is federle don't tori realta kine I yanav give blood punkai e. Nu treat gleach a chur a hen hocht a náid, a seacht a trí a hen a trí a seacht. Tá sé 4 hochtach deontóirí nó aim siú. Tuair cuairt ar siamh gréasáin, chuin in cháile hocht agus sunraí clinicí a cheáil, Tommy de Brahart.
Join Derek Ryan for a night of dancing in the Abbey Hotel, Donegal, this Saturday, 23rd of November, with special guests Keelan Brown and Jason McCowell. That's Derek Ryan live in the Abbey Hotel, Donegal, this Saturday, 23rd of November. Doors open at 9 p.m, pay at the door.
It's the Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles, wood flooring and bathware. Stores nationwide. Sale now on.
Sponsor of the 9 till noon show, Kernan's Diner, Newton Cunningham, with ample parking for buses and large groups, delicious breakfasts and hearty lunches. It's the ideal spot for a quick bite or leisurely meal.
Just some news breaking this morning. A man has been arrested by Gardaí investigating the explosion in Creeslough in 2022 in which 10 people died. The man in his 60s voluntarily presented himself at Dundalk Garda Station this morning. He was arrested shortly after 10 a.m. His solicitor, Joe Rice, confirmed. It's understood he's been arrested for alleged reckless endangerment under the Non-Fatal Offences Against the Person Act of 1997. So he's been arrested for alleged reckless endangerment under the Non-Fatal Offences Against the Person Act. As we very sadly know, 10 people, including 2 teenagers and a young child, died in the explosion in Creeslough on the 7th of October 2022. So far, 4 men and 3 women, 4 men and 3 women also died in the blast. So an arrest this morning after a man in his 60s voluntarily presented himself at Dundalk Garda Station. We'll bring you more on that as we get it. Right, Kim McMenam's a candidate in the general election for the Irish People Party. Good morning to you, Kim.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
All right, just before we get on to your commentary on housing, just a reflection on the latest opinion polls. I'm not sure how much weight you put in the opinion polls, but the TG Carr poll had you polling less than 1%. Are you looking? Do you think that's reflective of the feedback you're getting? Are you looking for a major drive over the next week, or is this really just about getting your views on the public platform, so to speak?
I am not too keen on polls. I think polls sometimes don't tell the true story for what's happening on the ground. I'm getting great feedback on the doors. Absolutely, everybody wants change, and I just want to say, some people are saying, Sinn Féin could be the change. Not many are saying that, but a few are saying it, and they are not the change. Look, they're a globalist, Marxist party. They have turned around, Sinn Féin TDs in April 2023, they voted in favour of hate speech. Now, that's to censor me and you. That is communism right there. And then in March 2024, they called for a proposed hate speech legislation to be scrapped. They wanted it scrapped then, so they've done a complete turnaround because they knew that the people had caught on to what they were doing. And then with the mass immigration, open borders, Sinn Féin they were accused for advocating for open borders back in 2021, right? And they were prioritising multiculturalism over national identity. Their 2018 presidential address by Mary Lou McDonald, she emphasised Ireland's diversity, stating Ireland is no longer merely orange and green. Ireland is a rainbow of identities and cultures.
Is that not true, though, Kim?
Okay.
I mean, if you go,
she said that
I'm
in
saying
2018.
no, but is that not what the country is? I mean, go into Letterkenny University Hospital and if you go into Letterkenny University Hospital, for an example, it is not green and orange. We are a diverse nation now, and 40% of healthcare workers come from outside of Ireland. So is that not a statement of fact?
Well, you're talking about the orange and the green. Well, the green, the Irish people feel they're being pushed aside. That's what I'm getting on the doors. They feel they are not getting the services they should be getting. They're not getting the housing they should be getting. Meanwhile, everybody else seems to be getting. You seem to be more favoured if you're from another country. And I know there is genuine refugees who do need emergency accommodation, right? But so do Irish people. So the Irish people feel that they are being pushed aside. That's the bottom line. No one's against people. We're all for people, and we're all for helping people.
You're in favour of a fair immigration system. So you believe immigration is needed as long as it's fair.
Well, it needs to be controlled more. You just can't have open borders and everybody gets in. And I've heard stories that buses are now coming onto the runway, and they're getting off the planes and straight onto these buses. They're not even going through the airport. And it's just because they don't want people to see that. So
onto housing now. I beg your pardon, Kim. Sorry. Just onto housing now. You believe that people should have a right to build to the extent whereby that reasonably large construction or extension should be planning free, should be planning exempt.
Well, it's called the right to build scheme that we're pushing, and I think do it under emergency powers, whatever they have to do, because they used emergency powers to lock people down, and that's one thing Mary Lou says, we're not locking them down enough. You know what I mean? So we can't have these globalist Marxist parties, because that's what they are. They're totally gone extreme left. The loony left are alive and kicking in Ireland, and it's just gone too far. Everybody thinks they've gone too far, and they should be punished at the polling station. Mm-hmm. They should be punished. Don't be fooled by them. Look,
but
whenever I stop those 66... Hold on, Greg, let me finish. Whenever I stop those 66 men, single men of military age, being put in beside our schools in Buncrana last October, and the Buncrana people came out and helped me. It was great. We stopped them. They're away now, right? So we saved Buncrana in a sense, right? Now, all the parties are sort of they're doing a soft line now on immigration, but these very same people called me far right and racist back then. Mm-hmm. And now they are coming around because it's election time, almost saying the same as me.
I think let me finish here. I'm telling you
now, people, if you're... No, Greg, let me finish. If people are... Sorry, Greg. Let me finish. Just let me finish my sentence, please. Now, if people are going out to vote, you've got to vote for me if you want a voice for you. There's no other way around it.
I know, Kim. Can I ask, because I asked a question about housing, and now now you're talking about vote for me. But my point is that
but they're totally linked, Greg. They're totally linked.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Let's go back on housing then.
So, in terms of quite a bit of development would be exempt from planning altogether.
Well, you can build a garden shed now in your backyard, right? 25 square meters without planning. You can do that, but you can't live in it. Okay, that's the rules. You can't live in it. So we're proposing to extend that to 65 square meters because that will allow people to build like a two-bedroom condo type flat in their backyard. That will get the young adults out of the childhood bedroom instead of just having the choice to go to the airport or stay in the childhood bedroom. Now that will give them a chance. So there's too much regulation. The planning authorities have gone too far with planning regulations.
Just in relation to that, would there be any conditions to that? Because obviously a lot of people listening here might be living in in a housing estate environment or semi-detached, and it could be an older couple on one side and the family you talk of on the other, and next thing you know, their vision lines or their sunlight is blocked by a two-bedroom apartment in the backyard. How would you consider the concerns of neighbours with those types of developments, Kim?
Well, you just keep the height restrictions because we don't want someone building a skyscraper in their backyard, right? So just keep the height restrictions and allow fast track it, allow people to get something in their backyard to help their family. To stop them from emigrating, to stop it splitting families up, because that's what's happening. Greg.
And just in terms of extensions too, you also believe, do you, that extensions, if to your current property, should be exempt as well?
Yeah, extensions as well, up to 65 square meters exempt, from planning. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but again, height restrictions are important. So, you can't just go 3-story in your backyard. It wouldn't be. There'd have to be that stipulation, that regulation would have to be in place. But look, it's an emergency situation. We have a housing crisis, so we need emergency solutions. Now, they can do lots of things under emergency legislation, like they lock everyone down under that. They made everybody wear masks under that. So emergency legislation, let's enact that. Let's use that now. This is a sticking plaster, but look, we need it sort of quickly to give people a roof over their head fast. We can't keep up this level of immigration of our young workers, educated, brought up in Ireland, and they have to go.
Yeah.
Stay in the bedroom or go to the airport. That's not fair.
I suspect, though, it's as much about most of us can't retrofit because we don't have the money to even pay the 10 or 12 grand to retrofit at homes. I'm not sure how many people in the situation you described would have the 40, 50, 60 grand lying around to build granny flats and apartments in the backyard. But it's a proposal, and we'll see what the public think, Kim.
Well, it could be grant aided as well. People could get grants for this because look, they can give grants for everything else. They can conjure up billions when they need it. They give 60 billion to bail out the bondholders during the crash. They can conjure money out of thin air. So if they can do that, and you better believe it, they did not print that money. That was a promissory note, and where the collateral, where the assets that they're relying on to get that money back. They're just using the people. Look, everybody just wants a peaceful life, and they just want to get on with it. Now, imagine if you expanded a person's expendable income, Greg. Look, currency is called currency because currents are meant to flow. You imagine if that was expanded, like during the Celtic Tiger, when that savings scheme came in, when you save so much money, you got money off the government. People were able to afford cars, an extra car, they were able to go on extra holidays. So the currency was flowing. So that means everybody was happy and smiling. Right now, it's just misery. And the people who are coming from abroad, right, the globalists are creating wars out there and making those people miserable in those non-EU countries. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, they want to come to Ireland because the globalists have created the problem. And now, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael government coalition, they're coming up with a solution. So it's problem reaction solution.
I get you.
The Hegelian dialectic is being used here.
Just in relation to that, before I let you go, because I do find it quite interesting, and this is not me making an argument for or against. It's just looking at the lay of the land and wondering practically what we're going to do. And it might not apply to you or either to me, really, because it is the future. I'm just thinking at this stage, our economy's kind of topped out because we're at 100% employment. That being said, that I don't like that phrase because the cost of living is so high. Being employed actually is disadvantageous for some people at this stage. But anyway, let's just say we're at 100% employment at the moment. We are an aging population, thankfully. We're living longer. We're growing older. We're living longer, and hopefully we're going to be more healthy. But we're not producing enough babies at the moment to replenish the population. And we are going to find ourselves in the not too distant future within 10, 20, 30 years. And this isn't like climate change, where you can argue back and forth on it or something like that there, or COVID or whatever. This is the fact stuff, and it's good to debate. But, you know, we're not producing enough babies, so we will, and this is happening all over the world, even in China, we won't have the younger population to be the tax base to pay for the services, to take up all the jobs that would be required, and also to care for older people in care settings or whatever it might be. Like, do you have any plan or do you have any notion as to how we square that circle, Kim, without inward migration? Because, as I say, we're not producing the children ourselves. So how do we ensure that our younger children and their children actually live in a society that can sustain itself without the movement of people into the country?
Well, just on your first point, right, our babies, our grandchildren are being produced in Australia right now. That's where it's all taking place. Okay, so they should not have been forced out of this country, right? Forced out because of lack of housing.
Right.
Now, the demand on housing has increased enormously because of the immigration, the mass immigration that all parties supported.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you've made your point on immigration, and I think there's many people who agree with you. Some will disagree. I'm on about just how we sustain this country into the future without future inward migration, if you know what I mean. Because even the Chinese, they've lifted the limits on how many children families could have. Because and America is in the same situation. A lot of the Western countries, I don't know if it's societal or what have you, are finding themselves in this same situation, that they simply are not reproducing at a rate to sustain the population. What do you think there's anything from a policy perspective that can be done to address that, to avert further inward migration?
Yeah, we've got to incentivize our exiled people to come back to Ireland. We've got to incentivize them with grant schemes, with giving them, like, a bit of land. Look, there's land everywhere. There's land everywhere. Like, most populations are at the coastal regions and in cities. There's loads of land. Like, the government can compulsory purchase land for other things, so they can do it for our youth who are abroad, and bring our educated workers who were born and bred and educated in this country, bring them back to this country by incentivizing them. 100%. Okay. We've got to look after our people abroad too. You know,
all right.
We can't just look after people who are coming in. We've got to try and bring our people back. Like, and they're highly educated workers. Bring them back. Okay. Bring our nurses and doctors back.
All right, then.
Right, you've got to just switch everything, and a switch can be flicked. They can flick a switch when they want an advantage, Craig.
All right, Kim. Thanks for your time, King McMinimum there, who is a candidate in the general election for the Irish People's Party. A caller says, I feel a lot of young people are leaving as life choice and nothing else. My kids have gone to Australia and they had jobs here. They simply left for a life experience. Kim needs to live in the real world where our medical professionals going to come from. We are important, most of them. Yeah, but at the same time, an awful lot of young people, even though they're working, they're looking at their quality of life, right, and how much money they have at the end of the month. At the moment, there's many families with a mortgage of €1,000 and childcare costs of €1,200, and unable to pay bills and what have you. So maybe a lot of the young people feel like busy fools, and that's maybe why they want to see what life is like elsewhere. I get mixed reports as to what life is like in Australia, and I know people work really, really hard, and it can be hard to gather up money too because they've got pressures, and they've also got sort of an anti-inward migration movement over in Australia as well. It's not necessarily all red carpet for the Irish. Totally in agreement with Kim McMenamin. Policies and grievances, but surely shouting and speaking over the radio host is not the way to gain votes. Until his party produce a prominent, calm speaker, they're going nowhere. Look, people are passionate. I'm certainly not bothered by the only one thing. The one thing, and we did, I think, the only one thing you want is just a conversation where the listener can get the points, and we kind of sort of have to some extent stay on topic, but there's quite a bit of latitude in there. Right, okay, and that's it. Back with more after these.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kernan's Diner, Newton Cunningham. Try our famous trucker stop breakfast. Fresh fish and chips or gourmet burgers. Delicious meals and welcoming service await you at Kernan's.
Easy Living Furniture's massive Black Friday sale is now on. Everything's reduced by up to a whopping 60% off on sofas, dining, bedrooms, mattresses, accessories, and Christmas. Like the new Ashbrook 3-seater power recliner sofa, now only $1,499, saving you £700. Exclusive to Easy Living Furniture. Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, Londonderry. Don't miss out.
Archives? Historic buildings? Museum-grade cases? It pays to be historic. If your organisation can contribute to Ireland's heritage, you may be eligible for a Heritage Stewardship Fund grant. Applications now open at heritagecouncil.ie/funding. Supported by the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage.
Make Christmas for everyone with unmissable Black Friday deals at Dunnes Stores. Pick up a Tassimo or Dolce Gusto coffee machine and selected coffee pods, now half price. And impress with a new Tefal 8.3 litre dual air fryer, just $99.95. That's a saving of €50. Plus, you can save again at the till with a 10 off 50 grocery voucher. However you do your Christmas shop, make Christmas for everyone with Dunnes Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used in the next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why.
The Euro Millions jackpot is an estimated €190 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
For day-to-day healthcare needs, generations have trusted the experienced staff at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. From coughs and colds to aches and pains, from vitamin supplements to first aid essentials. McGee's have what you need when you need it, with a full prescription service available daily. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For healthcare help and advice you can always trust.
New stock just arrived at Meehan's of Rafo. Men's polo shirts, quarter zips, chinos and shirts, all up to 5XL. There's also a new range of ladies' diesel fleeces with matching leggings for the ideal Christmas gift. Christmas Club now open, with gift vouchers also available at Meehan's of Rafo.
And we are live here on the 9 till noon show in the company of Miranda Rosenberg, a content creator and advocate for mental health. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. And as we all know now, one of the most popular platforms, the most influential platforms on the earth is TikTok. And like all organisations, they have awards for those that create the content, because, I mean, let's face it, without content creators, a platform like TikTok is nothing. And you've been nominated for the TikTok Awards for Education Creator of the Year.
Yes.
Fantastic stuff. Congratulations.
Thank you. I am very excited about it. It's Ireland and the UK's first awards. So other countries have been doing it, but Ireland and the UK finally decided, hey, we need to honor the people that are making content for us. Because in Ireland, TikTok has no creators fund.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the UK, you create content, you get paid for your content. We don't.
Yeah.
So I think TikTok Ireland wanted to hype us up a little bit.
Yeah, why not? Is it hopeful that, you know, there can be, there's no revenue at the moment from TikTok if you live in Ireland?
Correct.
None. Okay, they're right.
No creators fund.
So that's disadvantage. That's a disadvantage. I mean, obviously, you want to inspire and encourage people to create content. I mean, you're doing it anyway, but, you know. Is it particularly important for you that you've been shortlisted in the Education Creator of the Year category, or that's the area in which you're going to be considered?
Yes, because I love being an educator. I'm an educator in real life. I'm an educator online. In real life, I help people rebuild their self-esteem, their identity. I help them recover from trauma. But online, that's my outlet to teach people about sustainability and self-sufficiency. And I serve all of that up with a side of mental health.
And I have in front of me a lovely rose-shaped bar of soap, which smells delightful, right? This is part of your content too on TikTok, isn't it? Talk to me about that.
I like to teach people how to be sustainable and how to be self-sufficient in whatever way they are able. Like, you do what you can. So I teach them how to garden, how to make soap, how to repurpose waste products, what I call urban resources. Like, for instance, instead of using weed matting in my garden, I go to a furniture shop and take away all of their cardboard and use that for weed matting. And my ecosystem loves it. The earthworms love it. The bugs love it. And it breaks down. It's free for me to take away. And it's good for the environment.
Yeah, and it's also it's saving the energy required to recycle it as well. As well, so there's that knock-on effect. And is that really what, upcycling, recycling, reusing, creating your own products, generally speaking, is all about, isn't it? Because often we kind of feel we're compelled to do this stuff. That governments, we question their motives to make us want to drive electric cars or to do this or to do that. But the reality is you're showing that, you can look after the environment, do your bit, right? Reduce wastage, but it's also beneficial to you yourself.
Yes.
So that's the just in all of this.
It is the just. And you've mentioned two different things there. So one is the value and belief system that supports whatever way a person enacts sustainability and whether or not it's practical to do so. My belief system is very simple. I want to do what I can in the way that I can and help the planet. I don't judge any other people. I don't force anybody else to do it. I just show how, and you can choose whether or not to do it. The second part of that is, how do you do it in a very practical way so it's not overwhelming? Because if somebody wanted to be sustainable today, the learning curve for that could be quite steep.
Yeah,
it's a lot to try and do everything all at once.
But you see, that's what we try to do. We try to do everything all at once, or at least that's how we view it being, whereas it's little steps that you take, isn't it? Just in terms of, content creation and engaging with your audience, obviously, what you are demonstrating or training or educating or however you want to phrase it is important too, right? But I think there has to be a personal connection. And you have to kind of be yourself, do you? Because unless your thing is not being yourself, which people can be quite successful at as well, right? But do you, you open up about your life a bit too as well. You're quite transparent on that platform. Do you think it's that too which has helped build your momentum and your following, in that you're authentic?
Absolutely. I think my authenticity, I have a big personality. And it's nice that I can share that big personality online. It's nice that people are attracted to that. And I think the fact that I am extremely open, I'm open about the fact that I'm a survivor of domestic abuse. Therefore, when I talk about those things, people are more inclined to listen to what I have to say. I'm open about the challenges of being sustainable. And when I have failures, I show those too. Like, I made jam once, and the whole phone, as I was recording, fell into the jam, and then the jam rolled over. I posted that as well.
So would I. It's fantastic. It's priceless.
And I think people are very attracted to that. So much so, I've gotten support for the TikTok awards from local businesses.
Yeah, and I want to tell people how and encourage people to vote for you, because it's only a short window. But also too, in terms of, when you speak openly about domestic violence and being a domestic violence survivor, you always reach someone, don't you? I'm sure your inbox or your DMs are either people that, feel there's a sisterhood there as they went through it, and you're speaking the words that maybe they can't articulate or don't want to. But also, you're always going to hit on someone who recognizes what you're discussing in their own life, and maybe that might be a catalyst for them to make a change for themselves as well. So it's really quite, special, isn't it, to be able to have that influence on strangers, effectively, in many cases, although I'm sure you see them as your family. But you know what I mean, to be able to say, right, well, I've actually made a difference today.
Yes, for me, it's come full circle. I talk openly about it because that's how I got started doing what I do. Like, I had a child with severe childhood eczema. I couldn't afford, as a newly single mother, to buy the products that he needed for his skin. So I learned how to make them. Like, my motivation in that moment wasn't sustainability. My motivation was protecting my wallet,
driven by need,
and caring for my child. But in that same way, I developed this value for sustainability. And being able to speak to both of those things, about how I rebuilt my life as a single mother with 2 special needs kids and grew into sustainability, I think that has a larger impact than if I had approached it a different way.
Yeah, for sure. If people want to support you, how do they do so? Because there's an opportunity as well too, in that we've got a rich pool of talent in TikTok Ireland world, right? But at the same time, too, it's not so rich in that if people are motivated, they can really make an impact here in your success, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? You're a big fish in a small pond, right?
No.
Do you not think
within
you
the
are?
world of the
I'm
people
on
that
about in
I'm
Ireland.
Even in Ireland,
I still
I'm
think
up
you're a
against
big
people
fish.
with 2, 3, 4 million
It's
followers.
quality, not quantity. Come on, Miranda. I
That's
need
true.
some positive vibes here.
Oh, I have all of the positive vibes.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get them out of you because I know they're
Okay,
there.
the
No, but
way
my
to
point,
sup-
my point
yeah.
being is that people can make a difference today.
Yes.
So how do people vote for you, Miranda?
In order to vote for me, you can support me in one of two ways. If you're a small business, you can help support me getting to the TikTok Awards. So like Bloom Coffee here in Letterkenny or Sherry R Nails are both supporting me getting to walk my first red carpet. I'm very excited about this. As well as Mary McKinney out in Buncrana is making me a dress.
Oh, wow.
Because I couldn't get a dress and couldn't afford a dress. But if you are on TikTok and you want to support me, you simply search TikTok Awards. And when you do, a little banner pops up and you click on that and you can vote.
There you go. Okay. And
really
your
easy.
handle is, or your name is Miranda Rosenberg, if people are searching you out, yeah?
Or Homestead Donegal.
Okay, Homestead Donegal.
Mhm.
And when is this big red carpet event taking place?
It's on December the 3rd.
How exciting.
And I'll tell you why I'm excited about it. All these other content creators, because I run into them all the time, they get to go to premieres and shop openings and all these exciting things. I never get invited to anything. They're like, that's the soap lady. She doesn't want to walk a red carpet. So I am so excited to be able to like stand up and represent what I do. And it's being broadcast by Sky.
Brilliant.
So it's a big deal
so we
for
can keep an eye
me.
out for you. Yeah, and we know one thing for an absolute certain. Given the person making you dress, you're going to look fantastic. And
Yes.
2, you're going to smell amazing. Because of the wonderful soap you produce. Well, Miranda, continued success, and I do hope you do very well in the awards, and why not? Is it judges and audience, or is it all audience votes, or what way does
It's
that work?
all audience votes.
Really?
Votes. So they made a short list
Okay.
of people based on the algorithm and who has the most support through engagement. And then I was selected for the short list. But now it's audience voting. And you can vote every day.
Yeah. I mean, I like that and I understand it, but it just... you will have people there that are established, right, with greater followings and those that are up and coming. It's hard then to swing that balance, isn't it? But no better woman than yourself, Miranda, to do it. Thank you very much indeed for calling in. Lovely to see you as always. Take care. And if you are on TikTok, which I'm sure you are, search TikTok Awards, click the banner, find Homestead Donegal or Miranda Rosenberg and vote. Vote early and vote often every day.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much indeed.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you by Kiernan's Bistros at Letterkenny Retail Park. Our new second location is now open beside the new Dunn stores. Join us soon for good food and great coffee at Kiernan's Bistros, Letterkenny.
Celebrate the season at Evolve Clothing Letterkenny Retail Park. Brands like Ralph Lauren, Fred Perry, Calvin Klein, Barbour and Gant. Open 7 days a week until 8 p.m. Thursday and Friday. Shop in-store or online.
Anchorage Hotel Gidor is hosting a magical Christmas market with free entry, festive stalls and family fun. It's the perfect way to kick off the Christmas season. This Sunday, 24th of November from 4 till 8 p.m. at Anchorage Hotel Gidor.
Back to the drawing board on farm payments. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, find out which political party is planning to revamp your cap payments. Meat factory convicted for not paying for farmers' cattle. Farmers warned to do their sums on land leases. How Donald Trump is costing Kerry Co-op money. Full coverage of fat stock sales as heifer hits €18,000. Plus, don't miss our Christmas gift guide with advice on Black Friday shopping on a budget. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Apply online for learner permit and driving licence services, including renewals, updates, exchanges and replacements. It's easy and hassle-free. Visit NDLS online today at ndls.rsa.ie. Verified MyGov ID required. A message from the Road Safety Authority.
Go full Lidl with our roast and toast pairings on Lidl Plus. Slowly roast our Board B approved Irish beef housekeeper's cut, 22% off, now $6.99. And have a grape time with our deluxe chili and merlot, was $8.99, now $7.69. Scan your Lidl Plus app and go full Lidl today. Get the facts, be drink aware, visit drinkaware.ie.
For all you hard workers and multitaskers, those who come to work with big ambitions and bigger ideas, and all you legends of the trade, however you get the job done, there's a Volkswagen commercial vehicle for your business. Choose the new Transporter, Caddy Cargo, Crafter, Amarok, or the all-electric ID Buzz Cargo. Enjoy HB finance from 0% or purchase contributions of up to €2,000. Find the Volkswagen in you with the 251 range. Terms and conditions apply. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Visit Connolly's Volkswagen Letterkenny. Order now at connellys.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
Okay, let's have a look at that weather forecast then. It hasn't changed. Another bitterly cold day with a mix of sunny spells and scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow. Temperatures just 2 to 5 degrees. And there is a weather warning in there, which I'll get to in a moment. But I've got Angela McGilloway, consultant at Letterkenny University Hospital and ambassador for mumtalks.ie. Derry Donegal, good morning to you. Thanks for calling in.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you in. And I suppose, too, we were speaking to Miranda just before the break, too, and she's talking about, spreading her message, and the platform that she uses is amazing, too. This is similar, I think, isn't it? But in a sort of a different space. What is mumtalks.ie?
So basically it was set up by two phenomenal women who were mums, so it's Ciara and Lucy, and it was about an event or something that is aimed at mums who have just had babies, or who are mums in general. And so there's always a lot of things going on directed at babies, like swimming lessons or sensory group, but nothing specific for mum. And it's such a vulnerable time in our life; it can be quite isolative. So what was really important for those ladies is sort of setting up something social and educational that's going to sort of empower women who are new mums.
And it's launched on Thursday.
Well, in Donegal, it's been launched on Thursday. So basically, it's national. We've got mum talk groups in Dublin and in Galway. And Galway was my first experience of it because that's where I have my little one. And I'm originally from Derry, and after having my little one and moving up here, it's definitely something I wanted to bring up north as well. Like, why should Donegal not be a part of it? So it's launching next Thursday, the 28th, at the lovely Castlegrove Country House Hotel at 10:30.
And I suppose, too, maybe the supports and conversations that might be had are quite obvious too, but I presume this stuff comes up all the time and it can be tailored to whatever people want to hear or what have you, or what sports they might need.
Absolutely. So we've got three, we always have three speakers usually. So we'll have someone who's directed maybe towards mums, so whether that be like a pelvic floor physio, and on this occasion we've got Geraldine Hanley, who's a perinatal mental health midwife specialist for the HSE at Letterkenny Hospital, talking about maternal mental health. And also then we'll have someone who might be directed towards babies, so it could be a play therapist, or on this occasion we've got Stephanie Donaldson, who is a phenomenal sleep consultant, telling us how to get the little humans down.
Yes, that's going to be really that's going to be a really big chat.
To be popular. Yeah. And then our third mum that we always try and have is a local business, because it's also about supporting the area. So we've got April Quigley, who is coming to tell us about her new venture, reasonably new venture, Bow and Ray. Yeah.
All right. It's in the Castlegrove Country House Hotel, Letterkenny, between 10:30am and 12pm. Mums, more than welcome to come and bring your babies if you wish.
Bring your baby, don't bring your baby, dress up for it, put on a bit of lippy, come if you haven't been able to have a shower in 3 days, we don't care, we know what it's like. Yeah. And so it's about celebrating that and just being with like-minded mums, asking questions that maybe you didn't want to ask before, or getting validation for some of the things that you've been going through yourself.
Yeah, of course, because, obviously some people are lucky maybe to have a family structure, sisters, older sister, aunt, mum or what have you, and that's fine, but that doesn't mean all questions are asked necessarily or answered and all supports is given. But there's an awful lot of people that kind of maybe feel they're going through it on their own. When you come out of hospital, you've had the baby and you're kind of expected to be, everything's all right.
Oh, yeah.
The baby's there, sure, what could be wrong, right? Okay. And we also know statistically that, sometime after birth, for instance, postnatal depression can become apparent. It's not always immediate or what have you. And I'm not saying that's going to be the thrust of the conversation. But there's a lot of challenges that can emerge in those in that first year and beyond.
Absolutely. And so why not educate ourselves about it? Why not talk about it? It's nothing to be ashamed of. As you said, the babies don't come with a manual. And even if they did, every single baby
And we don't
is
get
a bit
training.
different. Oh, we don't. It's
No.
on the job. And people try and warn you.
Yeah, I know. There's
Get
no
your sleep.
book.
It doesn't quite work like that. But you're absolutely
We don't
right.
have to do 12 lessons and then sit a test. It's just there you are. How much of this too also is about sort of, does it come from these meetings where maybe friendships are formed, or people in areas that weren't familiar with other mums in that area, that there becomes sort of a network or a support structure? Does that happen? Is that an intent or a byproduct of these, of mum talks?
It's absolutely intent as well. I mean, you can't help but it being a byproduct, because we're all going through the same thing at the same time. Someone's talking about sleep, or talking about breastfeeding, or talking about sort of partners, and everything and anything comes up in the conversation. So it's hard not to. Like when you're a new mum, sometimes you can feel quite isolated from your friends, maybe if they're not mums either. And so the conversation and how you maintain it.
And there's something too about how we talk about children, because sometimes we want to portray everything as being perfect, right? And you know, especially if someone else says, "Oh, my baby's a great sleeper," you don't necessarily want to go, "Oh, really?" Because mine won't bloody sleep, right? You know what I mean? So this is a space where I suppose everyone is frank. You know what I mean? Because it's not plain sailing for anyone.
No.
It's tough.
You get the opportunity to do that and say that and hear that, because you're absolutely right. You know, social media, and we talked about how great it is and it can educate, but it can also sometimes be very isolative, where you see these mums thriving and it's great, but no one's going to post the dirty nappy that went up the back.
Not. Yeah, it creates this false impression, doesn't it? Yeah, it's the highlights.
We need to diminish that.
So how do people can they just turn up at the Castle Grove Country House Hotel in Letterkenny on Thursday morning at 10:30?
So I'm giving you a bit of an exclusive, Greg.
Oh, wow, I love exclusives.
We have got a 50% promo code. So they buy their tickets online before they come. But if they want to put in the letters M and T for Mum Talks and MT Letterkenny, all one word, all higher text, they will get 50% off the ticket.
Okay, and what happens on the day? Obviously, April Quigley's there, Stephanie Donaldson out for the Can't Sleep Consultancy, and Geraldine Hanley, a midwife as well. Is it 3 talks from them, or what else? How is it set up?
Yeah, so I'll be introducing our speakers. I'll be introducing sort of what Mum's Talks is, just as the ambassador, just having a little talk like we've had here. And then we'll get our 3 speakers to speak for about 20 minutes, and then informal questions, or you can speak to them afterwards at the end, whilst you're having your breakfast with baby on your knee or not on your knee, and then grab your goodie bag on the way home as well. So
brilliant. Sounds chilled too as well.
Yes, very much.
And it's up to people to decide. They're newborn. It could be 18 months. It could be
absolutely
2 weeks. It's up. People can make up their own mind in relation to that, can't they? All right, listen, brilliant stuff, Angela. Thanks so much for calling in. And if you go to mumtalks.ie to book your ticket there's a promo code MT.
MT Letterkenny.
MT Letterkenny, okay.
All
You
one
can
word.
get a what discount?
50%.
Sweet. All right then, thanks Angela. We'll be back after a break with the news, which will be slightly late, but that's grand. See you then.
Thanks.
Good day start with a great morning. Start your day at Kiernan's Bistros in Letterkenny Retail Park. If you're on the road or in the area, drop in for a great coffee and wholesome food. Kiernan's Bistros, proud sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
VHI Healthcare gives you and your family more. Get access to VHI Paediatric Clinic, urgent care, online doctor, and much more. Search VHI today and get 25% off kids on a range of plans. VHI, because your health means everything. See vhi.ie for range of plans. VHI Healthcare DAC trading as VHI Healthcare is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland and is tied to VHI Insurance DAC for health insurance in Ireland.
Grab your brolly, put on your wellies. This Friday, it's going to be raining millionaires. €100 Millions players from up to 9 countries are guaranteed to win €1 million each. 100 brand new millionaires. Guaranteed! Ha!
The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun.
For an efficient, mild hybrid system that doesn't compromise on the joy of driving, test drive the Mazda CX-30. This compact, stylish SUV comes with fuel-saving Mazda M hybrid technology and a 6-year warranty. Test drive the 251 Mazda range at McGinley Motors, Letterkenny. Mazda, crafted in Japan.
The massive Black Friday sale is now on at Patterson's The Hall, Lifford. Massive discounts on kitchens, beds, sofas, dining sets and giftware. There's up to 50% off selected mattresses in our sleep centre. Hundreds of products in stock and ready for delivery or collection. Open Monday to Saturday 9am till 5:30pm, with hot lunches served daily in our coffee shop. Get yourself down to Patterson's massive Black Friday sale today.
Thank you for attending this meditation session for badgers who forgot to check for gas pipes before digging, without knowing how disruptive it could be, putting others at risk and doing it unknowingly for all their working life. And it could have been avoided had they just checked in the first place. Let's begin.
Always check for gas pipelines before you break ground. Visit gasnetworks.ie/dig for more information.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And it's just turned 2 minutes past 11. It's time for a news update, and we cross over now to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A man has been arrested by Gardaí investigating the explosion in Creasla in October 2022 in which 10 people died. RTE is reporting the man in his 60s voluntarily presented himself at Dundalk Garda Station this morning and was arrested shortly before 10am. It's understood the man has been arrested for alleged reckless endangerment under the Non-Fatal Offences Against the Person Act 1997. The yellow weather warning for Donegal has been extended until midday tomorrow. Met Éireann says widespread frost, icy stretches and persisting lying snow may lead to dangerous driving conditions and some travel disruption. Bus Éireann also says services could be disrupted during the adverse weather conditions. Former Donegal councillor Seamus Rogers has died at 90 years old. A trade union official, he was first elected onto the council in 1960 and kept a seat until 1999. Rogers remained on as a community worker and activist for the rest of his life, and as well as numerous local elections, he contested 12 Dáil elections and 2 European elections. It has been confirmed that the Dunfanaghy Health Centre will be fully connected to broadband this coming week. General election candidate Pat the Cope Gallagher has says he's been told that the splicing of fibre optic cables to the centre will be completed by early next week, providing the connectivity necessary for the installation and commissioning of the necessary IT equipment to allow the health centre to open by mid-December. Councillor Michael McClafferty, who lobbied to see the project over the line for a number of years, says today is a good day for the community. And finally, HICWA has published reports following 2 nursing home inspections in Donegal. No non-compliances were noted in an unannounced inspection at St Eunan's nursing home outside Letterkenny in September, while 1 non-compliance was noted in an unannounced inspection at Kellybegs Community Hospital in June. That's all for now. We'll be back again with more headlines at 12 noon.
Donna Marie, thank you very much.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
What's that, Mr. Grinch? You've something to reveal? You are now a McDonald's Happy Meal. Well, this must be why you're so full of glee, which is a very rare sight for all to see. Oh my, and what's the reason? Ah, of course, it's the festive season. Choose a Grinch book or toy for your little ones until the 31st of December. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until the 31st of December, subject to availability from 11am. Book or toy choices between toy or book, not the specific item or range.
Okay, we are back for the last hour of the 9 till noon show. A caller says, can you please announce that chair yoga class in Glenvar, which is due to start at noon, is cancelled this morning? Thank you. That came into us from Teresa McCloskey. Hi, Greg. Just wondering if you're scheduled to run a live show in the Cant Centre the day after the election. The coverage during the locals was terrific. Well, if you enjoyed the coverage of the locals, we are raising the game. Yes, of course, we will be broadcasting live throughout Saturday, not just on the radio, but also across our social media platforms. I'll be chairing the coverage. We'll have a panel of guests to talk through what's happening down in the Cant Centre. The team is down there as well in the form of Michaela Clark and Donald Kavanagh, who'll be bringing you loads of information as it relates to the day, but also leading up to that day and where things might be going. Caroline Orr is going to be there, of course, as always, producing. Shannon Wilkin on site as well, and a full tech team. So we have put an awful lot in place to ensure that it's bigger, bolder and better. So yes, of course, not just will you be able to listen when that suits you in the car or wherever, but you're off on the Saturday. What else will we be doing? Stick us on the telly. We're going to be on YouTube, Facebook and on the X platform, broadcasting live throughout the day on Saturday with coverage equal to and exceeding what you would have enjoyed then during the local elections. The Creeslot Day Centre will not be supplying Meals on Wheels this morning, this due to weather conditions, I was asked to announce. I was also asked to announce this. We're thrilled to announce the arrival of the new Swilly Mulroy Mobility Bus, a significant addition to our community transport services. The state-of-the-art vehicle is designed to provide safe, reliable and accessible transportation for individuals with disabilities and mobility challenges in our community. We're also on the lookout for volunteer bus drivers to join our teams. That's good news. Well done. Always good when you see a new bit of gear secured there. Greg, we're told that we need inward migration to help with our future economy. However, in the other's hand, we're told by these same experts that AI will do away with many jobs, that we don't need as many as many workers in the future. Well, I would never rule out what AI could do, but I don't think it's going to pull you a pint. I don't think it's going to make your bed. I don't think it's going to care for your loved one, or I don't think it's going to get you through the ED. I take your wider point. I'm not sure what jobs might actually be affected by that in the long run, but there's stuff that we need that certainly we need to be producing. We need people to do it, sorry, is what I was going to say. Danny McDades from the Donegal branch of the Diabetes National Secretary. Sorry, he's the National Secretary for Diabetes Ireland, also heads up the Donegal branch. Good morning to you, Danny. Thanks for your time.
Oh, good morning, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
Another election, another interview. Are we any further on in terms of services for people with diabetes? Many of them in Donegal.
Yeah, you know, it's worse. You know, I've been involved with Diabetes Ireland, Donegal branch since 1993, and you know that's a long time ago. And that time we expected, or the general rule was that that every person with diabetes would be seen. The recommended was 6 months, but at that time everybody was seen within a year, from my recollection, and we didn't even have an endocrinologist at that time. We fought out long and hard to get an endocrinologist. After about 10 years, we did get one, but now I've been informed by our chairperson, Paul Gillespie, that the waiting time now is between 4 and 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Now, explain to those who may not know why that is critical in terms of, I suppose, the management and treatment of one's diabetes. What are the problems that can present with such long gaps between seeing your consultant?
Yeah, well, I suppose the most important one is probably podiatry, which we don't have. We have a podiatrist appointed there recently, which is not a senior podiatrist, but is filling in, you know. But it is one, you know, and the amount of damage that can be done, you know, kidneys, eyes, etc. You know, that it's just gone from bad to worse. You know, Letterkenny hospital is not. They're just not fit for purpose anymore. You know,
is it still the
45
case?
Years.
Is it still the case that Letterkenny is serviced by an endocrinologist travelling up monthly from Galway? Has that situation improved? Because I think middle of the year that was the lay of the land.
No, it hasn't improved. We had an endocrinologist, Dr. Camus, who was 75% for diabetes. You know, and that time most people were seen within a year, but then it stretched out to 2 years, and now it appears that Dr. Camus is only doing 8 hours a week on diabetes now, and the recent meeting, which I didn't attend in Letterkenny with management, was that there was 2 endocrinologists to be appointed, and there were interviews done, and there was 2 earmarked, and one of them came up and to the hospital because turned it down, and we were assured then that the other one would be appointed in January, and it's now appeared that they have declined to come to Letterkenny as well. The staff. You need a team behind you. If an endocrinologist comes in, they need all the different,
But we also have to. I mean, at this point, we have to ask the question why people are applying for jobs, accepting them, and then declining them. That's significant because the HSE themselves will concede. The CELTA will concede there is an issue in a challenge in filling consultant posts here. Well, we need to get down to the reason as to why. I mean, in this case, we're talking about diabetes services, but there are other services because it costs the public, obviously, the patient, their outcomes are not being maximised, right? But also, there's people ending up stuck in hospital because of podiatry shortages. They don't need to be in there at all, so they're using up valuable resources. Because it's a chicken and egg, isn't it? Because they're not getting the attention that they need in advance of that. The
10% of the health budget is spent on diabetes, but 80% of that is spent on treating complications. If you get me just.
Yeah, you're calling on politicians, if elected, will they join the cross-party group for diabetes in Leinster House, and also more broadly for the hospital, will they support the 5-point plan for LUH, which has been proposed by medical professionals? Those are the 2 commitments you're seeking from the 20 candidates, I presume, Danny.
Absolutely, yeah. There is a 5-point plan there now. I'm not up to speed on the details of it, but it's been, this is coming from within the hospital. Consultants, they want a 5. You see, there is a model of care that should be adhered to, which was dictated by the Minister for Health, but that seems to, Letterkenny in general. It needs to be upgraded. That's one of the points that the politicians should be looking at when they're if they're elected or re-elected.
I get you, Danny. Okay, I have to leave it there, Danny. Listen, we'll it'll probably come up during our debates next week. We'll see. Danny McDade of Donegal Diabetes. Thank you very much indeed for that. Some comments coming in this morning. Hi, Greg. Please wish Miranda good luck. She's a great lady, a great lively feel, good factor. Best wishes, Madeline Turman. Greg, I feel these political debates are spoiled by constant interruptions and talking over by the candidates. It gets people's backs up and loses support for the candidate. It's a toughie, isn't it? Because, everyone wants to get their point across. I think some people love the back and forth. That gives people a buzz, and sometimes that actually makes them interested in the election when they weren't previously. I think if you have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 candidates, I mean, it's impossible to chair that. I think with 6 or 7 candidates, you do get an opportunity to hear their views, but there is also space there for people to argue the views amongst each other, which I think, to some extent can be useful too. I do understand exactly where you're coming from, but is there a better system other than a candidate really just preaching to you? Greg, why do we not follow the example of Hungary and encourage women to have children by giving women all they need to stay home with their children if they wish? Good maternity leave, good tax cuts for couples. The more children they have, the more family allowance. For more children, better, cheaper childcare when they return to work. It seems to be working there. There's a few things in that. Firstly, some women might say, well, actually, I want to be able to go and work, so give me better childcare. Give me better supports and all that type of stuff. Secondly, too, you open up that conversation, and then people start saying, right, well, certain people are having babies just to exploit exactly what you're saying, to encourage them, and that's being abused. You see, it's complicated. I have to choose my words clearly, but I just kind of know the counter arguments that might come in. Young people that have gone on to third level college, educated themselves to the highest, they've already tried to buy homes in this country. It doesn't matter what wage they have, they can still never afford to buy a house. They've left Ireland disappointed and angry with the government leaving them in this situation. Regarding no children being born, again, it comes back to government. Couples cannot afford to have a family as they cannot afford to take time off work or pay a mortgage with only one wage. Is one parent takes time off to rear children. This is the reason for the decline of children being born in Ireland. Indeed, and you know, there's a big move on social media where men and women are in their 40s and they celebrate it by saying child-free, no babysitters, can do whatever I like. Another listener says the interview on TV3 last night with Mary Lou was disgraceful. How could they bring up the murder of Jean McConville? I know that the interviewer was trying to push the buttons, but how could they ask such a question? I'm in no way a Sinn Féin supporter. I switched in just as I think it was being put out in the conversation of the Boston tapes and the TV show on Disney. I only came in halfway through that question, unless it was raised earlier. I think it actually probably was a good opportunity for Mary Lou McDonald to get on the record in relation to that. And if it's the same part of the programme, and I didn't see much of it that I saw, she probably would come away thinking that she handled it well, if you know what I mean. That being said, you see, if the question wasn't brought up, then people would be saying that she got an easy interview. So we can't have it every way, maybe. All our grandchildren are being born and raised in other countries. They've all left as they have to. Those who have stayed are in well-paying jobs, and even they can't afford to have more than 2 children. We say that there aren't enough babies, yet we voted in favour of abortion. Over 6,000 babies were aborted in the first year alone. What do you expect? Well, you can't force people to have babies either. And, you know, many of these abortions were taking place outside of the country, whether you like it or not. I'm not saying that it hasn't led to an increase in them, but people were so determined to make their own life choice that they were travelling abroad to do it. As I say, you can't compel people to have babies either. Maybe that's not the point you're making. Does anyone know what the Glenshane Pass is like today? Let me know. Greg, please stop mixing up the difference between genuine people who've come here for years to legally work and make a life for themselves and those who recently came here illegally with no ID and not the first port of call for refuge. They may be in tents or hotels now, but they'll eventually have to be processed and housed. If we are overwhelmed now in our resources, how are we to support all these new arrivals, never mind young families here? So there are people come here on work permits. Are we talking about that? And then separately is those coming here for refuge or asylum. So we do bring people in here on work permits already. So you're saying only have that system and not have this other system, or not to give people an opportunity if they are fleeing desperation and they're from a non-safe country to go through that process and to begin work and take their skill sets and start contributing to society. If I'm mixing up, you tell me what you want. You tell me what you think we're doing right or wrong at the moment and what you'd like to see change. Because I'm only just trying to read the room and the various different policies from all the parties and those not with a party.
Sponsor of the 9 till noon show, Kernan's Diner, Newton Cunningham, with ample parking for buses and large groups, delicious breakfasts and hearty lunches. It's the ideal spot for a quick bite or leisurely meal.
Tuchelt. Bíimid fad á déanamh. Well, ní bhíimid fad. An bhfuil tú do hí I maisín tuchailte. Seans tusa dá ann mar sin. Agus sulam ris an aine talamh. Ní mór dóibh seicáil an bhfuil aon fi blianta gáis ann. Détá curisteach mór a bheith ann mar an éontar álaigh, ní rud éigean níos measa a ríis. Túrcuairt gasnetworks.ie/dig chun seiceáil. Teachtarach sa bháilteachta ó Línrí Gáis Éireann.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and at Home Store and More, we've everything you'll need to make merry for sure. From twinkling lights and festive decor to cozy throws, we've got it and more. Choose from our extensive range of half-price Christmas tree lights to light up your home blue or bright or glowing warm white. And a Christmas tree, or maybe even 2, will make your home feel even more right. Enjoy Christmas. Visit us in store, shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at the Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
This fire grate's burnt out again.
I told you, get a heavy-duty grate from Fire Grates Donegal.
But I need one right away.
Sure, they have them in stock and ready to go for stoves, open fires, back boilers, ranges, and they even make them to measure.
OK, what's her number?
Hold on a minute, I'll go and get it.
Fire Grates Donegal. Call 086 860 2012 or find them on Facebook. Fire Grates Donegal also deliver to your door. You couldn't beat that.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
It's 9:21, don't you know? Now, children as young as 9 are asking parents or Santi to buy them expensive and often damaging beauty products. Leading dermatologists have said children, as I say, as young as 9, are putting pressure on to get expensive anti-aging skincare products. This is part of trends on TikTok and elsewhere. And some experts say it could damage their sensitive skin. Mary Ferry is a beautician and owner of Genesis Aesthetics Skin and Hair Studio and joins us on the programme now, Mary. And I think there's an in-between there, particularly I think with young girls, whereby, you know, they're not fully fledged grown-up people and they're not very, very young people. And there's a lot of Santa letters going out there looking for these brands, and they know the brands, Mary, and they're expensive brands. What's your view on it? What's your take?
Do you hear me, Greg?
Loud and clear.
Oh, great. I'm just checking. I wasn't sure. Yeah, it's happening a lot. I mean, I can see, you know, you can see it in the high street. You can hear it from parents saying that the Christmas lists, even birthdays, and that they're asking for really expensive brands of. And not just skincare products, but also makeup products. And it's pure social media. It's what they're seeing. It's well branded. It's well publicized. It's beautiful packaging. It's colorful. Sells well. And this is what's attracting them. And then if you've got a group of friends saying this is what they're using, they feel like it's pure peer pressure. They want to have that product too, but to be honest, there's no need for it. They're way too young, way too young at 9-10 years of age, 11 even.
Well,
you know,
what's your advice to parents? Because it's possible, you know, we do see trends where we're told that children are reaching puberty younger, and that can have an impact on the skin, of course. But it would seem that the default position is to reach for the expensive creams and products. You're saying, are there other ways, more efficient, safer ways for them to look after their skin?
There is, like, I know for sure, you know, they are reaching puberty much younger. You know, that could be from just diet and high calorie diets, processed foods, chemicals. There's lots of stuff out there now that's being linked to early puberty. And I know you can go through that at maybe 11 years of age, which is going to have an effect on the skin. You're going to have that imbalance of hormones, breakouts, you know, your pustules and pimples and patches. So that's where they're panicking. That's where it'll affect their confidence, their mental health. And then they see this on TikTok and they look at this beautiful glass clear skin that older models are, you know, portraying across, and this is what they want. But to be honest, if I was the parent, don't just go down that road of purchasing really expensive. There's no need to. I think if you just they need to be educated in it and how the skin works and what is happening at that stage. When you have that puberty stage, you've got more oil being secreted. So that means you just need to get educated and advice in it.
And we'll do that. But the problem is Mary, TikTok is incredibly influential and they're being pushed these products over and over again. And they're being targeted by people that they relate to as well, right? So they're being spoken to by people they trust. And then, of course, demand is driven and there is a supply to meet that demand. And it's hard to break that chain, isn't it? People don't want to say no. But rather than it not being necessary, Mary, is there any potential that it's actually damaging to the skin? So if they're using, crazily enough, anti-aging skincare products, or they're using treatments or particular moisturizers, is it damaging or unnecessary?
Oh, it's both. It's both for sure. Because what you're doing is you're altering the pH balance of the skin and those products. You'll see it all the time. I mean, I'm not going to name brands, but you've got the glycolic acid, salicylic acid. You've got they smell lovely. They're cut. There's beautiful colors. That's what sells well. That is going to break the lipid barrier on a young skin, and that when you do that, that's a breeding ground for bacteria, for your irritations, your dermatitis, your eczema. You'll have loads of stuff happening on the barrier of the skin. Then you're going to disrupt the skin barrier and breakouts and rashes and so on.
You see, the thing too is Mary, I actually don't believe any 9-year-old is actually really motivated to care for their skin. Maybe they are. I think it's more to have on the bedside locker when the friends arrive, or to take out on the school bus or at break time. That you take this out and people go and they recognize the brand and the coloring and they go, oh, wow, look at you. I don't really think, well, maybe I'm out of touch here, but 8, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds are actively trying to protect the youthfulness of their skin, if that makes sense.
Well, I agree with you there, Greg, but also I have seen it, and I have seen in shops, in high streets, with their basket, a load of young girls, and their basket is full. I'm listening to them. They're putting in collagen iPads. They're putting in masks, and I'm looking at them going, at this. I'm glancing, going, that's not for you. That is so not for you. But it looks lovely. The packaging looks lovely, and they're putting on masks on their skin. That is completely wrong. It's not for their skin type at all. But they're picking up anything, and anything goes, and they're, collagen iPads at a 12, 13-year-old. Like, that's for 20 plus. So it's silly. It's really, there's no need. I mean, for parents out there, I would advise them, you're going to get good advice in the majority of pharmacies, chemists now, for sure. They're educated there. They can point them in the right direction. If they're at a stage where the acne has got really worse and it's needing more help than just products, then go into their local salon, get professional advice on what to use. Don't just go out and grab the high street brands that are the high end brands, but I mean, there's lots of other great products out there.
Yeah, but again, it's so difficult to parent, especially, if 8 friends have it and one doesn't, what do you do? It's a little bit like, vaping or teenage discos. I think parents would much prefer if the availability sometimes wasn't there, and that, there was responsible marketing. In other words, you do not actively, you can't actively market your products at an age group which shouldn't be on TikTok anyway. By the way, that's a different point altogether. So there's an awful lot to unpack here, but I don't know what advice you give to parents, because I know the reality of pushing back against the peer pressure.
Yeah, no, I understand that is tough. That is hard, because is it not a bit the same? I know I'm going to clothing, but branding clothing is the same. Yeah. They don't want just the normal runners. They want the Nike. They want
but they're not going to damage their feet, whereas these products potentially could expose their skin, couldn't they? And let's just a couple of comments here. My daughter is 11, going through puberty since 10. It's not diet. She's a very healthy, active young girl. She had some of these brands, but she soon realised that some were causing more harm from use. But what happens is I think that's family is in a decent position there, because the young girl understands the situation. Another 8, 9, 10-year-old likes the brand so much they might double down and do worse damage. Aquila says, when have parents stopped being parents? Gentle parenting is simply not parenting. You're supposed to love, teach and guide your children, and saying no is a big part of this. Having someone on chatting about anti-aging products for weans is unbelievable. We're literally what we're doing here is not promoting them. We're quite literally responding to a phenomenon at the moment where Santa letters, as well as requests on parents or what have you, are featuring high-value anti-aging creams from 8, 9, 10-year-olds. Or me and you wouldn't be talking about this. We're not making it up and we're not trying to sell them. We're trying to discourage it, Mary. But saying no, but that's not... I'm a radio show presenter and you're a skin and hair expert. We can't... Parenting advice is beyond my remit anyway. It's bloody tough, but we should say no, but we are where we are.
To be honest, Greg, it would be excellent if the likes of they were educated at school. So at that age of 9, 10, where you get in an expert to go and talk to them about the cleansing of the skin, how the skin works, and the basic stuff they need to do, because it's like being educated in anything. I think they need to get that at school, and then they know better than when they go on to see this on TikTok. And
because the way it is the industry says, oh great, we seem to have we've topped out in our female beauty sales. Let's look at fellas. Right, okay, now fellas are moisturising and looking after that skin, but I think we've sort of caught all of those now. What do we do next? Let's start on the 9 and 8 and 9 and 10-year-olds. It's commercially driven. You know what I mean? That's the bottom line, and unfortunately that is how cruel big business can be. All right, Mary, listen, as always, thank you so very much for your time. It's been great having you on the show, and thanks for your advice, because I think, too, it's useful for parents to know that in thinking they're doing the right thing for their young girls, primarily, they may not have been aware that actually could be exposing them to skin. And if you've got bad acne, and they could live with that for the rest of their life. And it's an expert you need to see, not a 10-second video on TikTok.
Absolutely.
All right, Mary, God bless you. Thank you very much indeed. That is Mary Ferry there, 086 60 25,000. If you're under pressure, are you getting that? I mean, are you guys, you are the granny and granddads and the mums and dads and what have you out there, are you seeing younger and younger children specifically asking for certain brands of expensive care products, facial products, anti-aging cream? Can you imagine putting those, I mean, I know kids will play spa, they'll do spa and pretend and all that kind of stuff, but doing it themselves by choice as a bedtime routine, it seems, that should be worried about other things. But anyway, is that just a group of parents and it's not the majority, or do lots of you feel under pressure to purchase these expensive products for very young, prepubescent girls in many cases?
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kernan's Diner, Newton Cunningham. Try our famous trucker stop breakfast. Fresh fish and chips or gourmet burgers. Delicious meals and welcoming service await you at Kernan's.
Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure, supporting you with the right footwear. Suffering from joint pain, shin splints or foot injuries, we can help you with our range of footwear and experience. We select the best options from all the major brands: Brooks, Asics, New Balance, Hoka and On Footwear. Step into our safe size experience. We will update your gait analysis, measure your feet and recommend what will support your body and joints. Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny. Christmas Club now open.
It's Ireland's greatest live show. The Three Amigos, Jimmy Buckley, Robert Mizell and Patrick Feeney are back on tour. Get ready for a truly amazing experience full of laughter, music and song. See The Three Amigos live Tuesday, January 21st, Clonry Hotel, Letterkenny. Tickets priced $39.50, now available at hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie, where booking fees may apply. The Three Amigos live. It's not to be missed.
At AXA, blocked drains and burst pipes don't worry us. And the kids? Well, let them be kids. From the little accidents to life's bigger problems, these things happen. But with AXA Home Insurance, our 24/7 emergency home assistance will have a fully qualified tradesperson with you quick. Together, we've got this. AXA. Know you can. Policy terms and conditions apply. AXA Insurance DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Easy Living Furniture's massive Black Friday sale is now on. Everything's reduced by up to a whopping 60% off on sofas, dining, bedrooms, mattresses, accessories, and Christmas. Like the new Ashbrook 3-seater power recliner sofa, now only $1,499, saving you £700. Exclusive to Easy Living Furniture. Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, Londonderry. Don't miss out.
Cupra. People tend to become obsessed. What is it? Where do I find it? How do I get one? And the new Cupra range will only increase that sense of desire, with power options from petrol and diesel to plug-in hybrid and full electric. Experience the new Leon, the new Formentor, and the new all-electric Born VZ. Available now with exclusive offers. That thing you feel? It's called obsession. Visit CupraOfficial.ie.
Your local Cupra dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 97 21396.
We mentioned earlier that thousands of women in Britain and Northern Ireland are planning to take legal action against Johnson & Johnson over alleged links between its baby powder and cancer. Lawyers claim the company knew for decades that there was allegedly asbestos present in its talc products, although Johnson & Johnson maintained that its baby powder was safe and stressed that it takes the issue of talc safety incredibly seriously. If the action goes ahead, it's understood to be the first of its kind against the pharmaceutical giant in the UK. Derry woman Sharon Doherty joins me on the programme now. Thanks for your time, Sharon. How are you keeping?
Oh, you're welcome, Greg. Yeah, what can you say? Okay, you know, you just do the best you can every day, you know.
In 2020, you received that diagnosis, Sharon, didn't you? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, ovarian cancer is called a silent killer because there's not very many symptoms, and I would have to say that I, agree with that. I had excruciating pain, I'd say once or twice. And then, excuse me, I had some bloating and, but nothing really else major, some light bleeding, but I was at the age of the menopause. I thought it had something to do with that. And then when I went to get checked up, I had a very large cyst on the ovary, and when then they removed that, they discovered I had both ovarian and fallopian cancer, and I had to go through the major surgery, the hysterectomy. Then I had to go through 6 months of chemotherapy, so it was absolutely devastating for me and my family, you know.
And the fight continues because you were recently told your cancer had returned.
Yeah, I recovered then in the years after, and I'm a person who looks after herself, health-wise. I've always done so, and I went back to yoga and eating. I always ate healthy anyway, and you think you're doing the right things. And this year, I started to become very tired, but it was January, February. We're all tired around that time of year. I didn't pay much heed, and I was slightly ill, and I just happened to get a checkup with the nurse, and she didn't think that it was okay, so got a scan, and then when I was brought to Belfast at the end of May, unfortunately, I was told that I have 3 more tumours this time, so I was absolutely devastated, as my family and friends as well,
I'm really sorry to hear that, and I hope your treatment progresses well. It's a situation where we get J&J effectively saying that this is nonsense, it's not the case, but they've been faced with tens of thousands of lawsuits in the US over alleged links between talc and cancer. And in August 2020, it said it would stop making talc-based powder globally and would transition to using cornstarch. And the company discontinued sales of talc-based baby powder in the UK as late as just last year. But they are completely rejecting any links between baby powder and cancer. If that's the case, why take the action that it has up until now, I wonder?
Well, excuse me. The thing is, there were studies done by Reuters, and they discovered as far as 1971 there was links with talc having asbestos in it, and there was other major studies done in 2014. in 2020. So the links were there in the industry. And also, it's 62,000 people have taken a class action in America, and they've already put aside $13 billion for payouts. So, that speaks in of itself, It's really shocking that a huge company that depended on a family-friendly business model, that knew, the studies were there, and they continue to use the product. It's really shocking,
Other than talcum powder being used widely by in your family as you were growing up, is there anything else beyond that that you've been told or know that links your cancer with talcum powder use? I wonder, Sharon.
Well, when I looked into it myself, Craig, and it doesn't take that much to find the research papers that were done by scientists in hospitals and research facilities. There's also, which I was shocked at, and I think for myself was, as well as you say, we all, in our family anyway, use baby powder.
Well, it was the trees coming out of the bath almost, actually.
Exactly. I know. And the clouds in the bathroom of the powder, and also in Derry, the swimming pool in the 70s was our, that was all our leisure we had, and the clouds of powder coming from the changing rooms was normal, and then you just continue on with what you have at home. So I continued on using that into my 20s, but what I discovered was there's feminine hygiene products that used the talc and, with the asbestos present. And I used a lot of those, as I think all girls do in their 20s and 30s.
Understood.
And also face powders and dry shampoo. I would have used a lot of that because, because of in my teenage years, I think all teenagers.
So you had high level of exposure in many areas.
Yeah.
But one thing I can't understand, I can unfortunately, is they've been paying out billions over the last quarter of a century, and why only withdraw this product in its form last year? I mean, that in and of itself requires incredible scrutiny, because I wouldn't pay anything to anyone unless I thought I had some level of liability. But to still continue to do it is worrying, to say the very least.
Yeah, and it's, as excuse me, and that's why I decided to join the campaign with the other women, especially for the ovarian cancer, is because, it's just that lack of responsibility or accountability that these huge companies feel that they can get away with, and people's health. It's just total disregard.
And the thing too, you've got people like yourself who can continue for your cancer treatment. But I was reading some quotes from other women who, I mean, they're almost conceding, given their diagnoses, that they won't see the outcome of this. You know what I mean? It's really just about getting justice or to look after their children. And then there's the God knows how many that passed away without ever seeing this action beginning in the UK, so to speak. I mean, it's horrendous when you think about it. You don't have to think about it because it's your lived experience, Sharon, but I'm on about, me being removed and looking on. It's absolutely horrendous.
Well, at the minute, there's nearly 600 women diagnosed with ovarian cancer in the island of Ireland every year. And when you think, as you say, back, this is a generation that's coming of age that would have been, consistently using that product and all the different products. So we're coming of that age. So how many women have passed on and maybe not even realised that their families, that was the reason? Because the other kind of telling similarity is a lot of the women are can't understand really why I got cancer, because I did lead a fairly healthy life, So, as I say, it's just astounding, that when you do think about it, how many women could have been affected and are affected now. And that's why I wanted to come on, just to let people know, unfortunately, if they have a diagnosis of ovarian or fallopian cancer, you know, they maybe want to look into it for themselves and their family and feel that we can do something, you know.
There's absolutely no blame that you could level at mums or dads. But, you know, there's bound to be people out there that are struggling with that emotion. What have I done? How you know, in some way I'm a part of this. You know what I mean? Like there's ripples to, there's those directly affected, and then there's those that are going to feel like some responsibility, which they shouldn't. You know, it captures so many different people in different ways. We wish you, Sharon, the very best with your next course of treatment, and hopefully you get through it really, really quickly. And as well with this action too, we wish you success in that. And I really do appreciate you speaking to us, Sharon. And best wishes to you and all of yours.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that.
All right, take care, Sharon. Thank you so very much indeed. That's Sharon. Sharon Doherty, who is from Derry, as you heard there, diagnosed with ovarian cancer and fallopian cancer on the right side, the ovarian cancer on the left side. That's back in 2020. Went through the tough treatments between operations and 6 months of chemotherapy. But unfortunately, Sharon has learned recently that her cancer has returned and is hoping to start her next round of treatment in the coming weeks. And I'm sure you'll join me in wishing her the very best in that regard. And she's one of, at the moment, 2,000 people who are involved with KP Law, which is leading a UK case. Now, I mean, J&J still insist that they're all innocent. And I've read some they're effectively saying, even though they've paid out that they've won or appealed the vast majority of trials in the US, and they insist that studies show that there isn't a link. But I mean, it's evident there, and they've paid out billions in the last quarter of a century.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you by Kiernan's Bistros at Letterkenny Retail Park. Our new second location is now open beside the new Dunn stores. Join us soon for good food and great coffee at Kiernan's Bistros, Letterkenny.
Experience the magic of Christmas with the Santa Express at Oakville Park. Take a festive train journey through the frosty forest with dazzling lights to meet Santa himself. Marvel at Ireland's tallest Christmas tree and join the crafty elves for fun and games. The last tickets are available to book now at oakvillepark.com. Starts Friday the 29th of November.
Me and the Minions are on a road trip. Yeah! To spread the word that Sky Full Fibre Broadband is now available in more homes across Ireland.
Voila.
So, Stuart, where are we going?
Okay,
Letterkenny, then Lifford. Oh, and Bundoran too. Keep an eye out for 99.9% reliable Sky Full Fibre Broadband. Well, crank up the tunes, Kevin, and off we go. Search Sky Broadband today. Availability subject to location. See sky.ie/speeds.
Win one of 5 Golden Nugget prizes with your Homeland Rewards card. Simply scan your Homeland Rewards card when purchasing Homefire Supertherm smokeless fuel in your local Homeland store or online at homeland.ie. With over €5,000 in prizes and one winner chosen monthly, with 2 in December. For full terms and conditions, see homeland.ie.
Tinny's Toys, your local toy store. Christmas Club is now open. Everything for newborn right up to model collectors. Leck Road, Letterkenny. Or shop online at tinnystoys.com. Did you know that we even give 5% cash back on all purchases when you sign up to our loyalty program? Tinny's Toys, much more than just farm toys. Leck Road, Letterkenny. Or shop online at tinnystoys.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Get into the festive spirit with amazing Christmas value at Aldi. A choice of festive party food, including mini veggie spring rolls from just 99¢. Unbeatable value on Guinness 12 500ml can pack, now only 19.88. And oh crumbs, wait till you hear this. From November 21st, elite chocolate tea cakes, now only €7.99 each. Save €5. Aldi, have a cracking Christmas. While stocks last, quantity restrictions apply. Get the facts, be drinkaware, visit drinkaware.ie. Deposit return scheme may apply.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Bally Buffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
So, continuing bitterly cold today with a mix of sunny spells and scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow. Showers will be most frequent across the northern fringes, though I'm seeing sleet and snow showers in Letterkenny at the moment. Temperatures today, 2 to 5 degrees, so frost and ice will linger in places in mostly light northwesterly winds. Tonight will be very cold. Widespread frost and ice stretches. Scattered wintry showers will feed right in across the region. Some heavy with further dustings of snow in parts. Lowest temperatures of -4 to +1 degrees. Lots of you use roads that aren't on gritting routes. And we're going to have this dusting on top of roads that are already dodgy. So, we have to use our local knowledge here, I think, to realise what the situation might be. All right, what would you do in this situation? I bought a tumble dryer for €120 on Facebook Marketplace. I met the guy in Letterkenny. He said he was from Strabane. He was driving a Donegal-regged car. We had a quick transfer, and I gave he gave me instructions on keeping it upright, which we did. I got home and the on switch was jammed. When I texted him to say no power showing, he claimed he used it the day he gave it to me, and that was the end of that. All his pages are now gone. So I've been well and truly caught. I just want to warn people, don't just message people, get phone numbers. Yeah, indeed. And I would say his pages are there, but I think you're blocked. He's blocked you off that. It's a toughie because maybe it did work the day of it. I just would be really reluctant to buy electrical stuff online like that. But that being said, sometimes, 120 quid for a tumble dryer is quite a lot of money second hand. But there you go. Craigtown National School, Carndonagh Road, not gritted again. It was like a bottle this morning. Cars getting stuck. Apparently, it's not on the list to be gritted, which is shocking, the amount of children and traffic on that road. Lots of you texting in along those lines as well. Let me see. I got a message here. Morning, Greg. I'm wondering how we could get a road added to the gritting list. My child goes to Craigtown National School in Carndonagh, one of the biggest national schools in the area, with 170 children attending. The road's never gritted. It was treacherous this morning, thick with ice, and it was so dangerous. Many parents have contacted local councillors, but nothing's ever done. Could you please see if there's anything that can be done before there's a serious accident on that road? And it's not going to be an accident because there's contributing factors, isn't there? I don't know. It's complicated. It seems that there's a bit of horse trading on what routes are gritted. We've got a lot of roads, and I think we all know you can't grit everywhere. But are there areas being gritted that maybe you could do without in favour of those that need it more? I don't know. Greg, don't say about Charlie McConnell to be sitting in the studio and everyone has the right to refuse an invite, election or no election. People do have other things in life. Right, Greg, don't say about Charlie McConnell till he's sitting in the studio. And everyone has the right to refuse an invite. Of course they do. Of course everyone has a right to say they're going or not. But I also have a right to sort of have a conversation and comment on it. We're also allowed to sort of, if we don't know why, speculate as to why that might be or not. That's it. There's no one's feelings are getting hurt, or there's no intention to. Morning. My children attend Craigtown National School in Carndonagh. The roads are not on the gritter list and the road's extremely bad. I don't drive and I rely on the bus to take them. It's a disgrace it's left off the list. Lots and lots of people texting in as it relates to Craigtown National School. It's very possible there's a parents group or friends chatting, and that's fine. That's exactly what you need to do. We're going to pursue this for you. Craigtown National School, road not gritted again, like a bottle this morning. Cars getting stuck. Apparently it's not on the list to be gritted, which is shocking. Pointing again to 170 children going to the school. Let's get in touch with the local councillors there. I'm just wondering if you could discuss a topic or mention of a school road in Carndonagh out in Craigtown. It's not been gritted and won't be. It's one of our main schools in our town. It's such a dangerous, busy road. We're finding it impassable this morning. Something needs to be done for the safety of everyone. Just to mention would be highly appreciated. So, Caroline, we'll check that out, will we? We'll check it out and see what the story is there. There seems to be definitely a justifiable argument for that road to be gritted, as is being well articulated by people today. Staying with the roads, nobody ever cut the bushes in front of a speed sign at Lurgy Brack School. Traffic calming is a real danger, black and dirty. I gave up mentioning that because if it's not dirty, it's covered by trees and branches. If you're using the climbing lane, you can't see it. There's a list going around showing TD's total earnings, 60 out or so are millionaires. How can they be in touch with working class? Healy Ray has over 6 million, Larry over 7. Where is the media highlighting this? Well, That's what you vote for, folks. It's common knowledge. All that information is available on the internet. You can also find out where their interests are in terms of land ownership or business ownership. That's the system. We discuss greatly on this program that often you feel their people are a little bit out of touch. Today we know that so many products for human consumption or use contain very harmful chemicals, colours, additives and fragrances that affect human health and indeed behaviours. Yet the corporations continue to sell them and our government continues to approve them. It's interesting that animal foods have been cleaned up over 40 years ago because it was affecting the animal's health and profit. Recently, an ingredient has been removed from dog food, yet it's still in use for human products. Oh, please tell me it's chocolate. I mean, we should be first. Love dogs-ish, but you know. But by the way, before I run out of time, tomorrow we are broadcasting live from On Grianon Theatre, Caroline, because we are celebrating 25 years of the theatre. So it's a mix of the usual programme, usual features, but also recognising the quarter of a century milestone down there. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of the theatre. Would love to get your input into that as well. Maybe you've got some special memories of the theatre. Maybe that's where you met your one true love. I don't know. But anyway, we have a Friday panel. We're in situ in the studio. We have a studio down there. We haven't a studio. We've created one. It's going to be the business as usual for you listening at home. You won't really tell, except we're going to have loads of content about the theatre. We also have the Friday panel, as I mentioned, and we also have That's Entertainment and loads of other stuff to keep you informed and entertained. And you can watch it as always as well, which we try and ensure that you can do because people view the show in different ways. Right. So until tomorrow, that's where we have to leave you. We're heading to Loretto in Milford. I committed to chair a debate up there, and it's going to be an interesting one, actually. There's 7 candidates that are turning up. I believe it's 7. Amongst them, the Green Party, Charlie McConnell-Logue, Pádraig McLaughlin, and others whose names just escape me at the moment. And that's going to be interesting. 50-odd students voting for the first time. I'll give you an update on how that went tomorrow. And follow our socials. We'll be putting up some clips and some pictures as well from that event at Loretto in Milford. Stay safe, everyone.